diamond in it.
Hello, everybody. Welcome into Smite Prime. It's November 15th, and we have more action to go. It's the November circuit. It's week 3, and Clocked In is still sitting atop the Smite Prime mountain, and it seems like nobody can topple them, but me, myself, Malum, and my friend Dilo are here to figure out if anyone can top them. Oh my god! Your hair!
Where'd it go? Oh no!
I'm
yeah,
really
man, I don't
freaked
know.
out by that.
Someone just came with the Clippers. I mean, Anthony, last time that we were on the stream together, you weren't married. You recently got that happen. I got a haircut, so I feel like we both had some pretty big life changes going on here.
Yeah.
So good to be back
This
though
is
on
our
the stream.
and like you said off stream, but this is our first look. This is wild.
And let me tell you,
crazy.
I'm enchanted with what I'm seeing right across the curtain here. You look beautiful, my friend.
Oh, thank you. I dressed up for this occasion. It only made sense. Seems like you did the same thing. Well,
Bingo.
we're here in November, week 3. That means one more week to go after this. But the November circuit's been rolling on, and for good reason. There's plenty to fight for, plenty to work at, and the prize pool has been the same, but it's worth it to grind for. $7,000 in cash pricing and up to 125,000 diamonds, which is just simply no joke. And if you want to learn about that or anything else, or maybe check out some other stuff going on, we're going to hear about in a little bit. Hint, hint. Make sure you go to smiteprime.com to get in the loop and in the know on all the stuff going on. But again, that's our prizing for today. But it's not just prizing for the players. Dilo. That wouldn't be fair. And some people have already gotten ahead of the game so far in chats, but we've got some giveaways to do. Let's start with the Smite Prime giveaway. Fat Loki Kabraken to match your aspect. And to enter that giveaway, go to twitch.tv/Smite Prime. And in that Twitch chat, use ! giveaway. Now, again, that's the Smite Prime chat, not Smite game. You can't enter for Fat Loki in Smite game. You have to enter in Smite Prime, but don't worry, Smite game, we haven't forgotten you guys and those hanging out in Smite Prime. Make sure you join Smite game, because over here in Smite game, we've got Dark Lord Sung Wukong. Use ! giveaway in the Twitch chat on Smite game to enter yourself to win that skin. Double the skins, Dilo. Last week I entered too late and I lost, and I was upset. This week I was first.
Super embarrassing.
It was.
Yeah, you got to make sure you're double dipping a little bit to get all the maximization of those skin potential. I mean, these are great skins. It's classics. It's the stuff you know and love, but you also have those chromas, the different variations of it that make it look that much more neat. But speaking of some neat artistic work, we also, of course, have the Artful Tidings. Do you hear the sleigh bells toll? You, too,
I do.
have
It's
your
right
name
there.
entrenched in artistic glory. Yes, indeed. You can have your name entrenched in artistic Smite glory by submitting from November 14th, that's already started, to December 12th. The voting begins the 13th, the 17th, 1:15 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And you can see the prizes right there, some big shiny diamonds to stuff in your stocking.
Make sure you go to smiteprime.com to check those out, submit yourself. I believe there's already been some submissions too. I know Hindu Man submitted an absolute masterclass of art. It was quite good. So make sure you go over to smiteprime.com. But that's all the fun stuff. But let's get into the competitive stuff. Let's talk bracket today and the teams that we are seeing, because that's where it all has to start, right? We're going to start our day, of course, with Glurp versus the Eldritch Hounds. That's the very top left of your screen, right underneath round 1, the 8th and 9th seed. Clocked In, of course, got a bye, but across the rest of the bracket, last week we saw Prod's College Fund make it to the finals against Clocked In. They did fall short, but there are still other teams that we've seen throughout Smite Prime and even as recent as last week, Dilo, that are interested and able to compete.
Well, Prod's College Fund, they might not get a full ride, but they do at the very least get a bye. So no scholarships quite enough just yet to send that kid on to his further education. But Eldritch Hounds are going to be the ones trying to learn Glurp something, and so far they've been doing a pretty solid job of it. However, the name on all of our lips, of course, when you look at the grand scheme of things, is going to be Clocked In. Can anyone close the gap that it seems has been forged across these seasons of Prime? And it's worth noting, of course, that as far as Prime goes, this is the last circuit of the year, so it really is a chance to kind of put yourself at the peak, the pinnacle of Prime glory. P's and B's coming at you, though. We'll find out what they got to stuff.
Like you said, it's an idea of you want to get on top for this before the year ends, because who knows what
Bingo.
the future holds. You want to end the year on a high note and have your team as locked in as they can be. Locked in's had the answer to that. I did that early in the day, so we're done with it already. But Eldritch
Okay.
Hounds
Dang
versus
it, man.
Glurp, that's what's on that's what's on the dally right now. Osiris, the first band, no surprise. We saw that last week. It was just doing
Yep.
absolutely insane amounts of damage, which is kind of insane. Also, kind of worth keeping in mind, this will probably determine top 8 this game for next week's
Yeah.
closed bracket. So stakes are high already, and our day just started.
And that just means that these teams are going to have to be playing with that much more desperation, that much more fury. Again, considering best of ones here to start things off, you really only have this one chance. Merlin banned away, Yemo as well. The Odin is going to be locked in. The E set has not been touched, as well as at Aladdin. Keep in mind,
Yeah.
folks, rework for Aladdin does not come in until next patch, so that god is still incredibly potent, but it's the Hecate. A lot of high priority mids being swept off.
And ESET last week was just an absolute terror in that support role. I never got to see it played mid. I believe it did happen in the tournament in a different game, but on stream we only saw it in support, and it was dominant, and that's probably putting it
Yes.
lightly. So top of the brain. But what was crazier than that, you talked about how the Aladdin rework is not in yet. Well, Aladdin was also a top priority. So to see, as you pointed out, the Hecate goes so early, kind of interesting that you would even risk the Aladdin getting through.
I guess it's the idea of Benny Q. That name still rings true in terms of the fear, especially on their founder's pick, right? Hecate is what Benny Q really was able to make that bloody path through the bracket with. Aladdin is indeed going to be that last band. E-set's up on the mark, and I wouldn't be surprised to see it sniped away as the first for Eldritch Hounds.
Yeah, of course, if it gets locked in, you have that flex issue now of is it going to Tempo or Tito, and teams do enjoy having a first lock being a flex, and just like that, Delo calls it, ESET is the first lock-in of our day. But one thing that was crazy last week was the variety of ADCs we saw. I mean, we were seeing Artemis,
Yes.
Hou we saw On Her throughout the tournament as well, so it's kind of insane to see what ADCs are jumping up as the priorities seem to fall elsewhere on the map. But somebody who was seen a lot last week is the Baron.
Yep.
Sandy.
I wouldn't be surprised to see Hoonbots also join it, but it's going to be the Neath instead. Now, here's what's been interesting. The Neath has been, historically, last week, I believe you got to see an ADC aspect Neath be put into play. I know that Muse had some reservations about it. We can see what it's going to operate with. It's the Animal Crew, though, that's going to be bringing the news on the Hound side. Makes perfect sense when you consider the name, and also makes perfect sense when you consider the gods. That is going to be some really solid CC and really impactful circles that the Hounds bring once the 5v5 start.
Yeah, I'm with you on that one. I wonder very much so about the Hoonbot's ult initiation. So we saw NMR last week play characters like the Nemesis. I want to say we saw the Hoonbots too, but my brain could be playing a trick on me. We saw Hoonbots a lot. But I feel like NMR showed some strong play last week, but it seemed like the Hounds had a hard time sort of keeping everything cohesive across the map, where NMR was maybe winning in farm or getting aggressive in lane, but nobody could really match the efforts elsewhere in the map.
What I will say is also going to be interesting about this bots in general is the fact that if you're trying to dive on a Baron Samity, if it is indeed going mid, but now I have some doubts, could very well be supporter solo since the Agni and Jingwei have been brought to bear instead. But the fact that it has such long CC immunity can easily shrug off all of that totem's ticks does mean you have to really make sure you're using it at the right moment. Oftentimes I know Musi likes to say that the midpoint of the fight is the best time to use the Hoonbots as a disruptor to any mojo or momentum trying to be gotten by the enemy team. We'll see if that indeed comes to bear. Jormungandr and the Uller being hovered here. The Uller's going to have a bit of a harder time, unless it's a stun bots, because we always talk about the training wheels. You, of course, want to land those axes for those picks, and if you get that easy staff slam stun locked in, it makes it a lot easier to get off that full combo.
Especially in the early game 2v2 that the On-Her, or excuse me, the Uller Hoonbots are going to have into mid lane, because I'm assuming it's going to be the On-Her ADC, Uller going mid with E-set support. So I feel like that can be a really dominant early 2v2 if you've got the double stuns. You can just chain your CC up, really get things messy, but it looks like the Thor might have piqued your interest, so please, let us hear it.
All right, there's so many things going on here, right? Because we know that the Jingwei has been run in jungle before. Neath could very well go ADC, and there's genuinely so many possibilities here. One thing that I do know for sure, the only thing I'm certain of, Spectral. If Eldritch Hounds want to survive, you get a Spectral, slow down some of those autos being tossed out by both Neath and Jing, and potentially even the Agni if they decide to run Aspect. Smite 2, baby. I'm going to say it again and again. Aspects just change the game so much. And it really does let... Okay, I'll roll the dice here. Let's get my D20 rolling. I'm going to say
Okay.
Neath mid, because that's where I like to see her. Agni is going to be that ADC. Jingwei jungle, Thor's solo Baron support. I don't see Thor being the support. That's the only other real option. And I like Baron a bit better in that role because you can cleanse off some of those slows without using that aspect, and that feels really nice, especially when you're up against that on her.
Oh, so we have some
Wait.
news. that
Wait till we tell you this,
that
guys.
you just gave the your side predictions, but the Neath that you
I
see under
hate it
Blurb,
here.
turns out that's actually a cosplay. It's really Bologna, not Neath.
Very
So,
convincing, too.
there she goes. Yeah, it was a good cosplay. It was
Coulda-
pretty good.
Could have
So-
fooled me.
That's a more
Yeah.
accurate depiction of what we're gonna be seeing from Blurb.
Man,
this game.
I was ready for my take to be I was ready to either flop completely or tell everyone I'm a genius game one, but neither will be the case. Instead,
Let's simplify
all my
it.
hopes have been dashed. Bologna is interesting. Okay, that does simplify things, right? Because that's going to be the solo. Baron Samity certainly support. Well, I guess you could argue Bologna jungle is a possibility, but I'd rather see the Thor there. That global pressure is certainly nice to have in all parts of the lane. Okay. Against a Jormungandr, that does feel nice because you can at least disarm, and we're going to be seeing how it ends up faring.
Yeah, let's head on to the battleground, start our day off in Smite Prime, and get into game number 1 of the day.
Ooh.
Last week for open bracket before our year comes to an end with one more week of closed bracket. So perfect time to be hanging out today. Thank you for spending your time with Smite Prime. A lot of ways to fly Smite 2. I'm Malamise D'Lo. We have the whole Smite Prime team. Of course, it's going to be Mort, Billy, Jithens, and Tess all behind the scenes making the action happen. And what do we see? What's jumping out at us? I do see 2 Sunders across the map, 1 on each side, so that's always fun to kind of keep track of. But after that, it gets a little more interesting.
Okay, so we've got what we expected in terms of supports. As far as the relics, nothing is too surprising, save for an Aegis being born here by the Yorm. I do find that to be a bit of a worrisome thing. At the very least, you know what is notable? You're unmovable, right? So you don't have to worry about things like the Jingwei knockup and such, so maybe you're feeling a bit less necessity for the purification. I still wouldn't mind it. There's a ton of stuns between Benny Q and Valo, so keep a look at if Remakami is able to stay alive once these team fights start to coalesce, and also when the ganks start to fall on your head. Beyond that, it's kind of business as usual. These level 5s are going to be so important between a Hoombots and a Thor, but until then, no stun on NMR does mean they're going to have a decent amount of damage to try to box before they reach that ultimate mark.
Let's put some respect on Valo's name, too. We talked a lot about NMR, but Valo is somebody you have to mention when it comes to jungle matchups. Valo, for a moment, there was talks that was pretty preeminent about Valo being one of, if not the best jungler in Smite 2 that we were seeing. A lot of it was on Loki, granted, but there were a lot of other nasty games in between that. So this game could be another great example of it. You're into a team that Eldritch Hounds, I've seen them play quite aggressive. Valo usually can thrive off of kind of baiting out that aggression and taking advantage of it. So a lot to keep track of this game.
Also, I just want to throw back to the days of Smite Prime of Yule Day, which was when Kleeno was cleaning up on any character that has some tank to their name. It was the Mordred back then, it's the Bologna now, but same story. Right now, it's a story of pain in the mid lane. Benny Q eating a ton of poke there from Tito.
Does back Benny Q up. Makes you wonder, will NMR maybe make a path, a trek towards the mid lane to take advantage? Benny Q does have potions ticking, so you can see some staying online. But here's that 2v2 coming up that we talked about. Left lane, Spirit Ball, a lot of damage on Coast, but Kiyuka and Tempo seem to be playing the waiting game.
Understandably so. I really don't want to get anywhere near that E set as well if you are on Glurp's side. That new +1, making it just more efficient lane clear than she had already with those enhanced autos. You really just don't want to get near how aggressive this duo is. At the very least, though, there are some good things that are on Glurp's side to keep them safe. If you go in with that nice disperse from the on her, Vaporish Coast can easily float away. So also going to be the same case for Makami once they start to go in with those submerges. So you have some little perks to your name, and you just gotta imagine Glurper just waiting for that late game to scale on up, waiting for Remakami to slow the heck down. So much damage from the snake.
Yeah, I was just about to point that out, and I feel like that's something that I heard Musi mention so many times last week. That was just the amount of damage that the Yorm can do in lane has to be respected. You have to pay attention to it because things can get out of hand pretty significantly quickly against that Yorm. But I did see last week too, D'Lo. It looked like one of the counters to that was a team that put so much focus on the Yorm, but then late game it bit him in the behind.
The thing is, Yorm is just a lane bully. That is what they are. Big Sneck to cause a lot of damage, but you start to figure out there's an anti-venom to that character. You can just easily wait for the late game, and they don't really have nearly as much of a contribution as that Bellona, but look in the mid.
Double tap beats out. Too much damage on already. Tito gets one more stun for some hope, but that hope will not be answered. First blood goes over to Glurp.
Rough stuff there. You just stepped a bit too far. Tito gets a bit confident with those first few combos, and it costs them big. Rocks are going to be attempted and successfully confirmed there by the Hound, so it's not all gloom and doom, but nonetheless, doesn't feel good to lose your ruler that early.
What's crazy is the first blood goes to Thor without ult. Look where the Thor is now. You can get one camp online. You might just have that ultimate. Then you get aggressive in duo. Jump over the wall from Kiyuka. The wall to cut him off. The beats won't matter here. Look at the surrounding team. Glurp looking for their second kill of the game. The up down from Valo after the farm will do it. The ult comes online at the perfect time and another kill in pocket for Valo.
Moonbots tries to make the late rotation on over, but at that point, buddy, the damage had already been done. You mentioned the fact that Valo was able to get that kill pre-ultimate, even post-First Blood, still didn't have ult. Manages to use that interim time to farm perfectly, gets level 5, and stomps that kitty cat right in the litter box. That was amazing job with the wall placement. They tried to use the beads. Like you said, doesn't matter. It's not a shell. You got the wrong relic, buddy. Unfortunate there, and the Hounds are starting to get put in the pound.
It was a really tough way it worked out positionally for the Elder Challenge, but like you said, there was just simply no answer. And we're coming up on 5 minutes, and it's already a notable lead for Glurp. And the reason I think that's so important was one of the strengths of the Hounds last week was it seemed like they had the farm game figured out early, and they were either keeping up or ahead in a lot of the games they were playing.
And you know what's scary is you point out the fact that Valo is the person to look at here for Glurp. Don't give all the respect to NMR because actually they're being disrespected right now. Haven't gotten to pull out that totem nigh one time. That feels rough. Might feel rougher if you get caught here in the purple buff, but Glurp are going to be able to easily retreat because that's what their characters are able to do. Very good disengage, but here comes the Monkey Man.
What's the play for NMR? You have the damage on already. Going to force the ultimate out from the Jingwei, but the hunt is on. The spears go forward.
Nice.
That's a kill for the Hounds. It goes to NMR. They can't quite get the second one, but they'll take one onto Coast. And, you know, I was just about to give some credit to Glurp. Let's go back to the Hounds. A great fight from them.
Is this Iba playing? Look at all these jungles stealing up every kill. No one else has got one. Please, sir, a crumb of farm. Nah, you're good, buddy.
There's like 3 people who are so pumped at that reference.
And you and me are 2 of them. It's only one person like, yay, I understood that one. Well, it's true, though, man. It's crazy that the jungles are getting all this farm, but it's just where you want it to be. I'm glad that we were able to see Kiyuka hit like every single spear of Desert's Fury, because honestly, the Jingwei was liable to live otherwise. An early Gold Fury pull here from Glurp.
Coming up on 6 minutes, too, so an interesting time to make this happen. There is some contest. You see Tempo there. Ultimate not online for that ESET. Going to make this much harder. Bravo 6 going dark. Gold Fury goes to Glurp. They're able to secure it in the face of the Hounds.
That's just one from all that pressure that Valo established across the map. Sure, you got a kill on the left, but they also knew that they were low from it. They didn't have resources. It's a reset forced out from the Hounds, and a Gold Fury put in the pocket there of Glurp. Feels great. Ritual's going to start getting started in just a moment. I see sunset on the horizon, and so far, overall, pretty even Stevens, but that's not what you want when I feel like Eldritch Hound's comp is just not quite as well built for the late game. They have a very pick-based comp, and we're not seeing the picks happen early. Even in that solo lane where you expect the Snake to really have the better hang of things, it's just kind of a stalemate, and that means that you're winning if you're Cleano. So Eldritch Hounds have got to try to make something happen quickly, but what's it going to be? In my opinion, you maybe look towards that mid lane. Benny Q is looking awfully soft and vulnerable, especially if you catch them out with no beads. You got to try to force out those relics from those Uller axes, get a few more picks off quick.
I like that you talk about putting attention on keeping Benny Q down. Because one thing that I've already noticed, when you look at this Glurp composition, this roster is so sneakily stacked. I mean, it's so like we
Correct.
talked about Valo. You mentioned Klino and Smite Prime. Obviously, Benny Q. I feel like we shouldn't have to explain that Benny Q is good. It should go without saying, given the MVP status. But that's without mentioning Moods and Coast. I mean, come on, it's the Pentakid. You kind of can't go too
Yeah.
far away from talking about how strong the roster at Glurp is, which does bring into perspective just how good it seems that the Hounds are keeping up despite losing the first couple of kills out, losing that Gold Fury. Keep the game close, it keeps the odds higher.
Ritual's about to get started in the mid lane. It does seem Yorm wants in on the action. Bologna as well fights across.
Yeah, it's a big commit mid as the capture point is up. You can see how close it is at the top of the screen. Yorm in trouble. Does he get in the ult in time? Yes, he does, if not barely.
Nice.
Rotation from Bologna too. Yorm gets TKO'd. That swings the capture back over to Glurp, and they're looking okay to get this mid lane point locked down.
I know Musi refers to it as the pillow fight. That moment for the Yorm was when the pillow fight gets too serious. You hit someone a bit too hard, and you're like, oh, like, is someone
Why
going
is
to
there
call their
rocks
mom?
in your pillowcase?
Exactly. Well, they're raining down from the sky. Collect them while you can. Might as well fill it on up to get that extra damage across. Kyuka trying to get some across in the Jing, but with that impale going wide, could be trouble.
Both junglers here to interrupt. Kyuka in so much
yikes.
trouble. Has to jump away. Turns with the ult, though. The turnaround is perfect. And the last spear hits Valo, who was stuck in the Fear No Evil. Could not ult away in time. Great turnaround there from the Hounds.
I definitely thought the kitty cat was going to bite their second life off, but no. Amazing rotation there from the monkey. Love to see animalistic cooperation. That's why you pick these characters after all. And you're able to get that pressure off in the dual lane. Gold Fury won't be coming up for a little bit longer, but it does open up the possibility that the next objective can go your way instead. Just make sure you don't back in a rough spot, buddy. Baron Samity is on the prowl after all. They don't seem to be listening, though.
Oh, the life binder to stop the back on Kyuka. The damage is real good. The Sunder 2, it hits. Kyuka will not die. Oh, my
The new ult!
I thought it was over.
Oh
Yeah,
my
somebody
God.
needs ult quickly.
No, I thought the ritual was going to kill him. I thought the ritual knew what was going to murder him, but if you stay moving, you're fine. Thank God that cat is quick on their paws. That should not have been the case. Honestly, canonically, Kyuka deserves to die there, but the Canon event has been averted, and they are able to drive off the invaders from that Tier 1 tower.
I didn't even think about basically the calamitous rod from Smite 1. How did Kyuka get that lucky to get through all that? That's crazy.
I've got no idea. They got the cat's luck. They got the monkey's paw, I guess. It is on their team after all. Was able to make it work. And that's nice because you do not want to lose that pressure you literally had just gotten from NMR taking visits to that lane. Solo lane, meanwhile, why are we even here, man? It's just kind of watching a snake documentary. They're trying to hunt for something, but no rabbits are in sight. And that's, again, exactly what Klino needs to do. I'm not asking for anything different from the Bologna, but if you're this Yorm, I don't know, maybe you're the one who needs to make a rotation. Pay a quick visit over to Benny Q. You've got Dominion over those Flame Brands, which is good, but it's really not getting you too much other than half a level ahead.
Yeah, we saw the one rotation, but Ramakami got poked out so quickly that he had to ult to get away before the fight even began. Then there ended up being no fight over the capture point in the mid lane, so it does kind of make sense, I guess, that Ramakami's playing it slow, but I'm with you. At what point do you try to take advantage, maybe get Ramakami in early to avoid all that poke? And look at the collapse and poke and the potential death on Tempo. They kind of just caught him. Ult going to be out. Tempo still going to fall to Coast. Tough way that works out. I mean, Tempo was just peeking around, seeing if they were doing the oracles, and all of a sudden he's gone.
Thor's hammer is not a war hammer, it's a construction hammer. That guy is building walls in just the right places. What an amazing way to trap these characters that, in a large way, lack the leaps necessary. Well, actually, hold on a second. Everyone's got a leap except for Tempo. That's actually, never mind, perfectly placed. And Kyuka, in that moment where they had lost their life, didn't have leap available. So, in that case, double credit to Valo for knowing when to use these walls and against who. Bologna's making the visit over to the kitty cat now.
Yeah, Kyuka might have sent something's up, but it's going to be way too late. Kyuka's good as dead, surely, right? I mean, you got 3 people here. You have to commit at this point. Ult down, and the Scourge will lock it in. Big pickup on the rotation, but what's the plan after? It's got to be Gold Fury. You've already committed the Bologna to the rotation. That is the plan for Glurp. They send everybody over. The Hounds will have 3 here to answer. 2 go back to the mid lane. They'll cut off Valo. Tempo hiding in the bush. No ultimate online.
No ult. That's going to be rough if you don't have the ultimate, though. How do you confirm this? You have the Sunder as well on top, still in pocket, but already dropped down to half.
Spirit Ball already out. They
Uh-oh.
just collapse on Tempo. Life of the party to bring him back. Tempo is
Dear
dead.
God!
Caught looking there. My goodness. That was wild. Gold Fury should go down. Looks like it'll be conceded by the Hounds. Glurp will get their second Gold Fury of the game, and their lead now grows to a notable number, 5-2 in kills. But Gold's already looking a little bit strong here, around 2,500. You can't really... I don't know, if you're the Hounds, you can't put a price on how much this game is starting to slip quickly. And around the 13, 15-minute mark, D-Lo, it's like the worst time to lose a foothold in the game.
And you can't put a price, Anthony, on how much this game means to their runs in the circuit. This very well could decide who is able to make it into that top 8 cut for closed bracket. So it's all comes down to this, and that Snake, man, I think it's a vegetarian. It did not make the rotation over. Bologna's instead the one who's bloodlusting and does exactly what we asked for Remakami to do instead. Now it's a pyro call here for the Hounds.
Here's a collapse onto the support, this time with Glurp. And Moods is going to go down, but not before Valo turns it right back onto the head top of the Hounds and brings down Tito. Remakami's in so much trouble. Can you get away in Big Snake mode? Yes, you can. Just in time. Matter of fact, that might equal a kill on the Benny Q. No, Benny Q pops in Amar with the rain fire and then dashes away. Tempo will fall to Clino, and Glurp just have the Hounds number.
This is just an absolute mollywhopping. There's no other way to say it. There's no way that Benny Q should have lived, but just amazingly timed beads, a hot dash out to the right side of the map, gets them instantly out of dodge, gets a mid-tier 1 for Glurp, and so much pressure. A Pyromancer. Everything must go, and it's all for the side of Chaos.
We talked about the swing that had already happened. The Hounds were attempting to get the Pyromancer, get some gold back on their side, and it just bites them in the foot completely. Now Glurp pull away even further, looking for a kill in Kiyaka too. But just a light look, as Kiyaka does have that jump away. But 15 minutes is around the bend, and Glurp are sitting real pretty. It makes me wonder, is there a chance the Hounds can keep contesting things like this first Fire Giant? Do you maybe let it go? Do you play safe because you've fallen so far behind? What are you thinking, Dila?
Tempo just can't show their face too early. The issue was that they popped out from the recesses, from the brushes. They don't have enough vision. I mean, look at the map. There's no vision to speak of whatsoever. And because of that, if you are trying to play the secure game or even the steal game, you need to understand what is happening across the map. You need to know what those health bars are. Finally, the Monkey's going to answer my prayers, drops a quick ward down around mid, but it's too little too late. You're starting to see that backward slide take place, and there's level leads across the board here for Glurp. They can start to look at this FG or maybe try to look for a baited kill instead.
Glurp has done so good so far at getting those early picks if somebody shows their face on an objective. This time it'll be Remakami first at the Fire Giant that has been started up. Ultimate used. Benny Q picked in the mid lane by Tito and Tempo.
Nice.
So now this is a bit messy for Glurp. Can you still kind of round things back up, group back up? It looks like the Hounds want to force a fight. The stun will connect. But do you have the damage? NMR just gets here. Ultimate used by Coast to get away. Same thing by Moods. The Hounds really want to press this fight, but Glurp's got the answers. But the Hounds, they've got it on her, and the ultimate hits at the perfect time. Glurp will lose 2 now, and the Hounds have 5. The call looks like it might be to go try to grab a quick fire.
Every single time someone gets a kill, then they try to get an objective, it just all goes awry. Glurp, now this time, it's going to fall on their shoulders, that burden of overconfidence. Hubris, Anthony, they're hubris, but will that still grant Hounds the FG?
2K, Valo could look for the steal, has ult, lands down! Tempo able to secure it for the Hounds, and Glurp cannot get the steal away. Dagger will go to Tempo as well, which might be a good call. We've seen Tempo be the focus of these fights early. You talked about Glurp looking for picks, looking to bait out those early kills. If Tempo has a get-out-of-jail-free card, that potentially keeps the ultimate in play longer.
And I want to go back to the reason this all shook out this way, Anthony. That's Benny Q dying, and that's because of NMR's work. They got the beads off. Remember when Benny Q escaped the sliver of their health? They didn't escape with beads in pocket, and Eldritch Hounds wisely recognized that, hey, 30 seconds left till beads come up, we can make a kill here happen, and then we can force the objective right afterwards. And I think that's the thing. Hounds have got to look for these bite-sized morsels before they start to look at the whole enchilada. Now they can win the pillow fight too. They're standing tall.
Coast rotates over. Tito, lying in wait, gets the stun. Doesn't commit for the full combo. Was aware that the Bologna was in solo. That jump scared me a little bit, even with the Bologna there. But meanwhile, Ritual Sight very much secured by the Hounds this time. Just about to be taken over. It looks like Lerp won't mind this one.
Yeah, at this point, they're kind of making sure to do what Hounds weren't in the early, which is seeding things without just kind of sending a free flow of kills into their pocket. Gold Fury is available and almost certainly going to be looked at here by the Hounds. Ult in pocket here for tempo. This should be a cinch unless Baron's got something to say.
Valo's at purple, but like you said, I just don't see the commit here. Instead, it'll be a trade where gold will go to the Hounds, unless Valo can maybe get a hammer out. Won't be the case. Pyromancer will go to Glurp in the meantime, as they went right over to it. Is it burning down quick enough? It certainly is. So it will fall objective for objective across the map, but gold-wise, we talked about the lead that was pulling away for Glurp. The Hounds have brought it back.
Oh,
now
no!
the ult out. Fear no evil from NMR almost does a significant amount. Almost brought down Valo, which kind of surprising. It's easy to forget how much damage that monkey can do.
But it was also very well played there by Glurp to not use any beads in the process. Mid-tier 1 will go down, but Hounds might be looking for a bit more.
You see the lurk, you see Ramakami. I feel like if you can look where Ramakami and Tempo are, you can get a feel for the fight of the Hounds. It looks like they don't want to fight without Ramakami starting things, but they also do not want to fight unless Tempo is primed and ready. If you don't see that ultimate online, you can kind of sense some hesitance from the Hounds.
Tempo's going to be, I think, a large part of the initiation, right? You throw out a Spirit Ball, it's such easy confirm, it's so long range, so safe to just do, and then an Uller axe should instantly follow. Whoever is getting hit by that Spirit Ball, preferably Benny Q or Vaporish, should instantly be axed in the face, and then the rest of the damage can follow in suit. NMR, that last Fear No Evil, it's a bit suspect. I want to make sure you're saving it for the big team fight, because now you don't have it on this potential siege in the left lane.
Didn't even burn beads, which I think was the biggest thing there from NMR. Valo's ults, though. Let's talk about the other jungler. And hang on. Soulvane, trouble, dash out. Benny Q completely caught here. Ramakami on the hunt with the Uller. Valo might have gone up to the air to cut things off. You have Coast here, too. The land down. Just the stun. The damage is perfect on Tito. Get off of my mid laner. Valo plays a defensive jungler.
So, Anthony, let's talk about Valo's ults, huh? Let's talk about them. They've been really good. They've been really solid. Valo said, actually, how about I, instead of my actions, speak louder? And they certainly will. These reverses, again, just a bit too much hubris, a bit too much overconfidence. FG buff's about to fall off, but luckily, Glurp were able to very handily swipe it away from Tito beforehand, add insult to injury. And again, we're kind of at an even keel here. Eldritch Hounds got a lot of their mojo back by grabbing that FG. Now we find ourselves without the buff. What does it look like when it's just a 5v5 mano-y-mano? I think it depends on who gets the first bout of CC. If Benny Q catches someone with that Noxious Fumes combo, they're probably cooked if Valo finds the wall follow-up. There's a lot of great long-range stun chains on each side of the field, but all that matters is who gets hit by it first and who's squishier when they do.
One thing I have noticed that's really interesting is the pickup that Moods has grabbing that Ansile. And the reason I find that so interesting is it's going to be Ramakami or Tempo that will be the most affected by that with the way that we've seen Moods playing. So, yeah, I feel like you're kind of setting up this idea of, okay, Moods has caught Tempo around a corner multiple times. Moods has been there when Ramakami's gotten the dive out. You get that silence after your ability, and Ramakami in particular just becomes so victim to it. And Tempo has an inability to get a silence off themselves or even get the ultimate down in a panic. And I feel like that might add even more to what we've seen of those quick early picks that Glurp have been so good at.
It's, again, the frustrating aspect of Baron Samity is that they just do so much, and they also have a large CC immune ult that just does so much for forever. Lifebinder makes it that much harder to kill them. Stampede, Ansile, there's so many great tools out of them to ensure safety. A Pyromancer, though, not going to be safe for much longer. Hounds get that one uncontested, and that feels really good. Finally, some bomb leverage to counter Glurp's 2. Also gets a bit of damage on that right side. Tier 2, but FG is what we all have our eyes on the mark for. Ancient Fury is also coming up. There's a lot of big rig objectives here, but the question is who really wants to lead the on-gauge? It's going to be Remakami.
Oh my, there it is! The stun, the silence, the root, the chain!
Goodbye!
Is there a death? No!
Woo!
Remakami's able to get underneath the earth and turn things back around, but there's just so much damage on the Hounds. They have no answer for. They fall one by one. That's already 3. Remakami has to fall back to the tower. Kiyuka could hardly send an ability out, and Glurp still stands strong as 5 as they take down the tier 2 in mid.
Well, the problem is Val is listening to the broadcast, Remakami's not. Remakami, I didn't say walk up slowly as you're engaged. I said it's to let the E-set hit a spirit ball. 2 big bombs, gonna blow up that Phoenix to smithereens. They might be going for more.
It looks like they're considering the end. I mean, why not? You're against 2. You have ultimates down. You step in. Can you find the picks now, too? Indeed. But Kiyaka's got enough damage. If he can get himself alive and get back to the base, there's maybe a chance.
Ooh.
But the hammer shuts it down. And Glurp will stay on to the Titan. It is going down slow. Minion wave in. Tempo back up in time. Spear Ball's going to find a few. The silence up. The Titan's still standing. Tito goes in to help things out. Down goes Valo. Last one standing. Clean
200!
The Titan, but it'll fall!
Glino!
Glurp make it happen by the skin of their teeth. The Hounds could not hold out.
You've never been more grateful in your life that Bludgeon is AoE. You've never been more grateful in your life that it's a cleave attack. Because they were body blocking with everything they could. What a crazy way to start our bracket here today. Glurp at the end of the day are going to be able to skate by the skin of their teeth. Hey, I said it. Watch out for Klino. That man's a killer.
That was a close one. That's kind of as close as it can get in that instance. I mean, 100 health.
Holy crap, dude.
You get that last kill, you just keep things alive so much longer. But we'll be back in a few minutes. We'll wait for our next matchup to end. Don't go anywhere in Smite Prime. We'll be back after this break. Hello! There we go. Hello, everybody. Thanks for hanging out, being patient while I was muted, and while we were waiting for the next game to get set up. And welcome back from the break. Hope the snacks are refilled, the drinks are ready to go, and make sure that you've entered all the giveaways, both on Smite Game and Smite Prime. But I'm still Mellum. He's still D-Lo. Let's bring him back on in. And we still have matchups to go. It's the last week of Open Bracket here on Smite Prime before we get into the closed bracket next week that will end our year of Smite Prime. So, D-Lo, how are our thoughts, feelings? What characters surprised you? Where are we at? Where's the headspace?
I have a lot of headspace, actually. Now that I got my bangs removed, ton of it. All right here. Oh, all right, well, it's gone. Well, as far as how I'm feeling about this game, I feel like we had a game plan available, and we just kind of never used it. We told Remakami, your job is to be a bully. And they said, okay, I feel like I'm a pacifist now instead. I'm just going to walk up and try to employ diplomacy. And that worked very, very unfortunately against their team. And you mentioned in the green room, Anthony, you said, like, I feel like he had not learned his lesson. And I kind of agree. This is Remakami walking at you. That one works because they're fleeing. But when they're all 5 grouped up and just looking at you, that's not the time to just walk up and try to say hello. You're an ambush predator. You got to make sure to use the bushes, use the stealth to your advantage.
It did feel like that was a pretty consistent issue. It also just seemed like Glurp had the number of the Hounds. It was, okay, Tempo poked out just to see what's going on. We're going to hard dive Tempo, force the ultimate out, stick with it to get the kill. Oh, did Remakami step up first? We're going to use the passive of Remakami, get that extra damage on, force the ult early so you can't use the ult to displace us. And then everything around that could never get going. The closest thing to success at the end here, though, was the near-perfect defense that almost somehow amounted in a comeback from the Hounds.
Too bad Klino not only cleans off Kiyuka with that bludgeon, but then also is able to use those cleave autos to ensure that even through the body blocks, they're still going to be able to whittle it down to those last dregs of health. Brilliant work there by the solo. They did their exact job throughout the entire game. Again, just look at this. They're trying to body block with all the desperation they can muster. It's just impossible. Klino is just too clean with it. Eldritch Hounds with that are unfortunately likely going to be booted out of that top 8. They were the 8th seed, Glurp the 9th, and now everything is changing up.
Yeah, what a time for Glurp to get that victory. And the whole standings, really, that bottom 4 or 5 are so close in points. anything could happen today. A lot of weird stuff could go on with the standings. So we'll do our best to kind of keep you up to date and caught up as we go through with those standings. But one thing we know for sure, and we'll keep showing you, is the bracket. And of course, what matchup
Huzzah!
we have next. And won't you tell us a bit about that matchup, Dila?
Well, it's going to be going over to friends on Prod's College Fund up against Retirement Home. So kind of a fun little battle of the, what is it, Nanogenarians versus the Young Bloods here. So we'll have to see. Let's gotta see who's the tougher ones. Imagine, the high school versus the retirement home. What happens? Probably a lot of broken hips. But hey, these old people are still alive and kicking and trying to kick Sun Prod right out of the educational system. We'll see if it's able to happen.
I feel like last week, Prod, and you and I talked about this actually before, you had mentioned it, but Prod is a very streaky player where sometimes he can just be on fire, is seemingly unkillable. But then last week, we kind of saw that up until the finals where things kind of fell apart. As we get into picks and bans for our game between them, I'm curious where the jungle focus goes. Retirement Home have a lot of their team back today, which is a really big thing, in particular that mid lane, Pagon, who I believe will be named Daniel in game. That's such a big gain back for Retirement Home. You can't really understate that. And going up against Kaidon, who last week had, talking about Sunprod's up and downs, I think Kaidon's another example of someone who had a lot of ups and downs last week. It'll be a really, really tense matchup in the mid lane.
I mean, Anthony, going back to that Sunprod point, the last time you and I shared a mic was when Sunprod, in my opinion, kind of put their name down in the Smite 2 Hall of Fame, destroying everyone. Everyone, top pros, old veterans, new players, everyone was just falling at their feet, lifeless. And since then, yeah, when have we gotten to see a performance to that level? It's very hit or miss. And when you have multiple players like that, especially in this best of one format, it takes one bad fight to send you into a dizzying decline out of that bracket. Hoonbot's not in decline in terms of priority. He's going to get first ban there from the Crusaders.
Yeah, keeping it away from the side of Retirement Home, not wanting Sam for soccer, AK running around to kind of be able to pick it up and go nuts with it. But that's another thing, too. The Hoonbot's priority is opening the door for a lot of other picks. Remember, last game we saw the Aladdin just kind of be forgotten about, which was weird. This game, Hoonbot, E-set off the board. The E-set, I feel like the E-set didn't exactly impress in the previous game, but I still don't think you can quite deny the E-set. The Osiris, on the other hand, while still not banned, I don't think makes it through. There's just no way, right?
We have not to see it for so long on Prime, and Jormungandr?
Yeah, we got lucky
Grandpa,
last week. We got one game of
Grandpa, maybe getting a hospice care instead, buddy, because I don't think that's going to be a top threat one bit. Did you not just see the last game? Jormungandr is scary in the solo lane, but solo or troll, I don't think is going to have too big of an issue playing against it. Odin is still also notably up and available, but without that E-set being played, is it as impotent, or is it as impactful? We'll find out shortly. Baron Samity, that's a ban that I appreciate a lot more. Only one left, and Osiris is still on the board. Retirement Home can't let that one through.
Yeah, Osiris still on the board. We talked about the Aladdin a little bit. That's still available. A lot of different routes this one could go, but Retirement Home have a choice to make. And what do you give over to Prod's College Fund? Because we talk about the Aladdin, but that's not a character that I think I've seen Prod play. So it would have to be Kaidon in that instance, which I also don't know if I've seen Kaidon play the Aladdin. So that's also something to keep in mind. Now you're playing a game of, Retirement Home could just play the gamble here of banning what they want in solo. They leave up the Osiris, but there's also the Aladdin on the table. So there's a lot you can mess with now.
I'm trying to look at this from every angle to understand what
Crow
we're
has
thinking
to go
here.
Osiris,
It's a lot of
right?
A lot of solo lane options are being struck off the board, which leads me to believe they might go for the Odin from Retirement Home. Osiris is picked up there by College Fund. That's going to be rocked with that aspect, which allows them to essentially have Yemo powers. They now utilize their fragments to throw that scythe out infinitely, which is disgusting. Aladdin, though, is the counter pick from Retirement Home. Sam for Soccer could run it. Pagon could run it. There's a lot of interesting options here. But what else
could also run it, by
grab?
the way.
Yes, that's also true. Sok could decide to run it on the walls if they so please, which would be interesting considering that the solo pool has been thinned out. Yanis already eliminates one option. It's not going to mid.
Oh, you know what? I did just realize that the Aladdin was not forgotten about. Oops.
Indeed. I remember that.
Yeah, so it was handled last game. The Giannis, though, that's a character that last week was forgotten about. Completely. We didn't see one on
Yes.
broadcast. It wasn't banned. It wasn't grabbed. There was talk about it in chat, I noticed when I went back through the VOD, but nobody played it. Nobody seemed to care about it in any instance. I don't think Musi mentioned it, which is my sign that it's not very good. We see it grabbed in the top 2 here by Retirement Home.
This is an annoying amount of mobility between an Aladdin and a Yanis. An Ares pickup alongside Hecate. Okay, so we're really establishing that front line quickly. Which leads me to believe that, I mean, Osiris, despite being kind of a mage-like character when played with Aspect, I mean, you could decide to go non-Aspect. Don't know why you would. Likely going to be played, I suppose, in that solo lane. Or actually, as a jungle would also be quite potent, too. Ares, support. Ares has seen some nerfs, though. It's not quite the top lock that we used to see. Against an Aladdin and a Yanis, inherent CC immunity in both kits? I'm a
but you
bit
did
worried
talk
about
about the
what impact it
mobility,
has.
though, too, which is important to keep in
That's
mind.
true.
Chains.
That's true. That's a very good point. These chains, these shackles are actually going to be incredibly good at trying to shut out Aladdin very early on. Yeah, amazing point. You don't need the Awilix in that case, and Awilix is a very suboptimal god, so you don't feel bad about that. On her as well. Just put the kitty cat on a leash. Take it around for a walk around town.
Yeah, it's the Retirement Homes, you talked about the mobility. It's getting more insane with each pick that gets locked in. But Prod's College Fund, their team fight to me is going to be sneaky with the amount of damage they're going to be able to set up for. You kind of have a baton pass in a team fight if you're Prod's College Fund. A lot of it does come down to what gets played in the jungle, though, and it is odd seeing. I know Ymir got locked in.
I'm sorry.
It is odd seeing Prod's pick fall to the end, but it looks like you were on the money with an Awilix hover.
We hate Aladdin so much in this lobby. We are Aladdin haters. We are Aladdin's biggest op. Yeah. This is like literally Aladdin's op squad just coming through. What is that cup, bro?
Isn't he great? Hang on.
What?
Can't see him. There you go.
Oh, he's got a little belly on him. That's adorable. Yeah, I'm a big fan.
He's a little guy. I got him last night.
That's pretty cute, I'm not going to lie. This Awilix pick is cute, too. It's going to counter the On Her. It's going to counter the Aladdin. If Ymir tries to rocket jump away, guess what? You're cooked as well, buddy. The issue, of course, still remains. It just doesn't do that much damage. It is a great way to put fear in the hearts of Retirement Home. Sometimes when you use this Awilix, the best thing you do is actually not use your ult. Make them fear the option of it. Loki, the final pick there from Retirement Home.
Hey, if it sticks, if it works, grab it. That's a classic, especially for Sam for Soccer. AKA running around. But now the Aladdin, we have our answer. I guess it is going to Sot, right? I mean, that kind of seems like the obvious combination here to me.
Yeah, but I don't know how I feel about
good at Aladdin.
Actually, well, yes. Now, the more I think about it, the more that makes sense. You're likely farther away from that Awilix. That's going to be up against that Osiris. That feels a bit better. How does an Osiris go up against an Aladdin? I mean, you don't have to worry about the tethers as much. It's a tether. The tethers from the mummifying wraps, you can probably evade them by running up on the walls. These are interactions that I have yet to get to see because this matchup is so rarely allowed to leave the ban screen. So this is very interesting. I'm also curious, just like, how does Sot play Aladdin? A lot of the pro players don't even touch Aladdin because they know how frequently they get comp banned. Now they're not touching him because he's just going to get nerfed into the ground in the next patch. So a lot of players, they're like, oh, surely I just easy 20-0 here. But now you're going to be maybe wishing for some extra farms. So Sot's got to make sure they perform well on that top pick. Make good on the name.
Yes, this is Solar Troll's Fast and the Furious Paul Walker final drive as Vin Diesel before they split off in different directions.
The little nod. Oh, yeah, it's totally that, bro. You got to make sure you don't crash and burn, buddy. You really want to make sure that you stay alive and you drift your way into a victory because, again, things are a bit dicier. Even if you're already in that top 8 slot, you still want to make sure you're up against a good seeding. No one wants to face clocked in round 1 in closed bracket. That is just nigh a death sentence, a destructive fate. So everyone's just trying to still, despite maybe having your spot assured, you want to play for the points.
Let's talk about Sunprod and the Awilish, because that's something that I feel like Prime hasn't seen, but I want to talk old school. Let's talk like Olympus Smite League, where Prod kind of got his foot on the ground, right? Prod was one of the better Awilish players I've seen. I've seen some nasty games. There was a time a long while back, this is very niche, I watched Prod basically win a grand finals with Team Bard's College, and Sunprod had F.Dot's jaw on the floor in that game. So the bar is high for Sunprods. a wheelish and into a matchup where, as you talked about, there's a lot of favorable matchups that we don't usually get to see in a wheelish grabbed into. This is kind of a great combination, I think.
You know what is it is a good combination. I do like this kind of retro vibe, some vintage Sun Prod. But here is my issue. Is that all of the leap initiation or all the knock-up initiation either comes from Sun Prod or it comes from Retirement Home doing it to themselves. There's no one else on Prod's college fund that is going to be funding you with any knock-ups. Ares, nothing. Hecate, nothing. Osiris, nothing. Neith, she leaps herself, but you can't pull her. That is a bit scary. If you find yourself falling behind because that early damage just isn't doing the damage you want, even if you pull someone in, it could very well still result in your own demise. You got to make sure you get the right target. Aladdin, for example, you pull in the Aladdin, if they still have Lamp and you don't burst him quickly enough, all of a sudden, hey, sucker, you just gave me health and prots right back. Thank you very much. So I'm looking for Sun Prod to leverage that pressure early. Where does that come on to? You could decide to try to put down that Aladdin in the beginning before Lamp comes up, but the Giannis as well is not the worst idea. As long as you keep them away from a wall. The issue is, of course, a good Giannis player is always going to have some of that player geography nearby.
Well, as we're waiting for a lobby remake, so thanks for hanging out with us. We'll be in game soon, hopefully. But in the meantime, make sure, of course, you enter the giveaways on TTV Smite Game and twitch.tv/Smite Prime as well. There's 2 giveaways going on, so make sure you join those as quick as you can. Get in there, get competitive. I've entered 2. I think I saw D-Lo enter. We want some skins as well, especially the Dark Lord Sun Wukong. How could you not want that? It's one of my favorites.
Yeah, it's pretty sick.
Of like all time, I think. And the Musi was going crazy about it last week. I'll go a little bit more gentle, but the prisms so clean on the Wukong skin in particular.
Yes, man. All the different Kyber crystals that he puts in his cudgel.
The Kyber crystals.
We will find out shortly. Yeah,
he went to the cave in KOTOR. Wow, that's a niche reference. I'm sorry. Nobody wanted that.
I don't know that one. Midichlorians and
as soon as it left
that's all I got for you, buddy.
My mouth, I was like, let's not go there.
The one person who knows who Iba is and also that Star Wars reference, they're like actually crying right now. They're like, my God, it's my favorite cast of all time. Everyone else is like, what are these two talking about? I'll talk to you about something else. This dual lanes pressure. Retirement Home have so much damage from a Ymir on her combo. And Anthony, it's what you said last week we saw this. It's our dual lane, buddy. We're very familiar, intimately familiar with how much pressure you put up with these 2 picks up against what's going to be a Neith and Ares. Even if an Ares goes up against this Ymir, here's the thing: Ares gets low-key countered by Ymir because even if you chain them, Rocket Jump does not abide by the rule of cripples. You still escape. If you chain up the on her, different story. The Neith as well. I don't see it having nearly as much pressure. The wave clear will be fine, but these early couple levels, Retirement Home have a significant chance to try to leverage that and get themselves maybe an early first blood. If they do, things could quickly spill out of control.
Is it too silly to hold him by his hands?
It's kind of cute. Just make sure you're keeping him nice and secure. Like swing him around a little bit like this is your first kid. Yeah.
Like walking into the store with him to get some Christmas decorations, you know?
Yeah, you have like one of those little front satchel patches.
He's got a little.
When's that coming, Anthony?
Like the little.
Yeah. I don't know what those are called, but those are also adorable.
Like Zach Galifianakis in The Hangover.
Yes, exactly. Big fan of Zach Galifianakis and The Hangover. Again, just all the references we can pull on.
We're ready for game. Just as I start going off the handle, we're ready. Let's get on the battleground.
Is there a bingo board this time around? If there was, man, you could check casters going off the rails like 17 times, get a bingo from that alone. But let's take a look. Yeah,
anytime it's on a bingo card and I'm the caster for a game, I think people's eyebrows raise and they're just excited. They're like, "Oh, so that's the free space this week. Got it."
Bingo.
But Melon's Dilo, Morty, for the price of one. Take us away.
Huge. All right, let's see what we got going here. Crow on this Osiris, on this aspect, no one's surprised. Neith on this carry, on this aspect, no one is surprised. 2 war flags. Everyone's going in for battle, and it looks like the Prod's College Fund Crusaders are taking a crusade over to the enemy side of the map.
They split, but then they step back. They've been spotted, so the jig is up. I'm surprised they went so quickly. Yeah, had they taken even a pause, I think they actually could have gotten a pick because it seemed like Retirement Home was slightly on that AFK walk to the farm. You know, you're triple checking settings. You're talking about build for the game, and now you've got Yark stepping up. And by the way, we're kind of unsure of what Retirement Home's roster would look like. Even in picks and bans, we had it up, but we still, behind the scenes, weren't fully sure. This is stacked. You've got the full squad here today. Solar Troll running around as Sam for Soccer. Daniel is Pagon. Yark and Fine OK here this week in ADC. That is a stacked roster up against Prod's College Fund, who last week, they looked strong. They made it to finals, but did come short and did certainly have some shortcomings throughout how they were playing. But this is, as you talked about in picks and bans, D'Lo, this is the definition of old versus new.
And this is the time to prove you can shine, baby. If you're starting to work your way up to that big bad boss that is clocked in, you got to make sure to grind some XP, get the side quests done as well. Already you're seeing in this duel lane that pressure be output here by the Amir on her combo. So much player made geography, and also worth noting, so much player made geography that Solo or Troll can run around on. You're making a jungle gym for this Aladdin, so that's going to be fun to watch as well as he yippies around the pillars and ice walls as well. But what I'm looking for here again, early pressure, early picks. Level 5 is going to be interesting for a couple reasons. Global pressure from Baronary, as well as, of course, that gravity surge from that Awilix. Who's it going to land on top of? The dual lane might not be a bad target. They're getting aggressive early.
A B, it's a jump and a backflip. There's the impale. Killcam Kenny in some trouble early on, but does turn the corner, which saves the first blood from going to Retirement Home. Back to lane they go. Quick mention, banned content pretty light on it this week, but one of the things that was banned was the aspect for Loki. So that's one of the reasons, if not just meta-related, that's not grabbed. But I did want to mention that before we get too in the weeds of this game. Mid lane almost in the weeds, but they step away.
Yeah, it takes a quick trip to the bushes, smells the roses. Killcam Kenny nearly bites it there, and it's again because Retirement Home recognized exactly what this dual lane's capable of. I love the fact that they're trying to get high pressure, high aggression early. Same thing in the mid, though. Hakate might be in trouble.
Yeah, trouble mid indeed. Sunprod low, gets the jump across, the feather step through, but the minion! Drops him, takes him down. First blood goes to the environment on Retirement Home.
You see the swivel on that minion, bro? That Archer minion's got aimbot. I swear, they're bots. But, like, did you see the swivel? Like, 90-degree turn, instantly locks in.
You're never going to believe what just happened.
I just killed Sunprod. I'm going to SPL, baby. That was awesome. Really great leap there. Really great leap there from Prod. Sadly, better minion placement, I guess, from Retirement Home. That's just unfortunate.
One little Archer shot to get the credit through.
Right between the eyes.
Yeah. Oh, it's so good. Anyway, dual lane. More important. Actually, we get the damage back. Prod's College Fund can turn this around.
No!
The Thunder's popping. Yark gets popped too. Fine OK does get the impale. Fine OK is not looking impossible. Disperse away, but now he's caught around the corner. The backflip. Autos, there's backup here in the form of Loki, but the chain hits, and Final K goes down. Double kill for Baronary. Can you make it a trip?
Oh, dear God.
Running around, you're running away. One more auto might just do it, but why not an ultimate? It didn't hit.
Wow.
For the kill, it hit for the damage, and Kenny slices the sword and slices the head off running around.
Wow, what a response there in the dual lane by the Crusaders. No jungle even necessary. Yeah, that was pretty gross. That was a really good job of punishing the over-aggression from Retirement Home.
Oh, Giannis,
just because you've got kill potential does not mean you get too aggressive, but look at this. Left lane, one more invade.
Sot's going to look at Sunprod and right, too. Giannis does go away, so this one does take precedence, and Prod backs away. How did no one die in that instance? That was wild. Giannis went all the way over to purple buff.
Surprising.
Baronary and Kenny were like 2 HP, and they just walked away. We saw Sot and Prod kind of just dance at each other for a moment. I guess both teams were like, you know what, we're being a little crazy. let's take a bit of a chill pill. Wow. I mean, they broke the whole matrix for a second there.
Yeah, all those invades, no one dying. The game's like, surely not. We got to make a quick revision and just test out all the pixels, make sure everything's all up in order. But let's go back to the fact that this dual lane now is the pressure on the side of Prod's College Fund. Means that Gold Fury spawning in 40 seconds, all the more easy to snipe away once the going gets tough. But we'll be able to grab one more kill. Desert's Fury comes out, but only for a bit of extra poke. Baronary and Killcam Kenny, tons of momentum, and also still tons of health left.
And bear with us while we get through these slight hiccups. We should have it back and stable for you soon. We are working on it. But in the meantime, chains land, flames on. Will it be a kill? The world will find out soon. No, he steps away. See, this happened last week with Musi, and obviously we want to get it fixed. But there was some fun in kind of the reveal of the couple of seconds later, and oh, the chain's on. Wait, oh, he got away.
Well, as a teacher, I'm a big fan of PowerPoints. One slide to the next.
Nice.
Kaidon slides on in with the teleport. Could try to catch on up to their mid lane adversary, but Giannis stays next to a wall but can't quite get the portal off. Will it happen? It will.
Yeah, just steps away.
Gosh darn it. Well, don't you worry, guys.
Okay, now we can see it. Does Baronary on Aspect, does that surprise you? I think last week we saw a couple of Neats play Aspect ADC, and it was sort of... It was something that Musi was saying has been popping up a little bit more here and there, but does it surprise you to see it from somebody like Baronary? You and I have been casting Baronary a long time. Hang on, I might have to wait. Cripples onto the Ymir. The whole squad's around, Sunprod included. Look at that damage. Oh, the whole gang's here. He's already dead. Leave alone. Yark goes down.
That's just tragic positioning there from the Ymir. Even though you counter an Ares, you don't quite counter all 4 of the enemy team. Loki's present to try to put up some contestation. That might be enough, though, to force off the Crusaders. They don't quite want the objective yet.
They do indeed back away. So things kind of calm and they simmer yet again. So we get the pick. Still no real objectives committed to. We're past the 6-minute mark, which means nighttime has descended on the map. This has been... I feel like so far with the Moonlight phase, I've seen a lot of different approaches to it, but a lot of teams that tend to go more aggressive seem to be teams with more experience trying to get the gold from it. That was a Loki ult I heard, but through the gates to separate it away.
The real objective, Anthony, is a new router for this podcast, so we can try to get something back online.
Oh, Final K
does go down, though. Let's go. Kill Cam Kenny does put the cat back on the leash. Giannis makes the rotation, though.
Yeah, the high rotation for the purple buff as the chase goes on a duo to back the Ymir up. Looks like the purple will go for free by the time we get back to it.
Indeed it will. So some small objectives there gained. At the very least, you don't lose something for nothing. Still doesn't feel good, though, as Prod's College Fund continue to leverage pressure on this left side of the map. And Giannis has this global rotation ability, but we're not really seeing them take part in the fights to an extent where it's alleviating any of that pressure. So despite the fact that I agree, this Neath being in the left lane, to go back to your earlier point, I'm also of the opinion that it's a bit strange given the fact that that World Weaver doesn't arrive quite as timely as you want to see. Nonetheless, they're making it work. Even when it's just being used in their own lane to initiate pressure for the Ares, set up an easy chain or something, it's effective damage. Wheelik's now under pressure by the Flame Brands.
Might just die just through the door. Crow's there to help play some backup defense. Kaidon's also lurking around the side, but it could be an awkward fight if Prod's College Fund try to force it. I'd imagine they walk away. Retirement home, if they catch anybody, could turn, but that was the case. They just kind of stepped away from it. Again, thank you for hanging out with us and being patient through the PowerPoint.
I like the idea of us, like, it's like a Telltale game, like, we decide the story. Like, what could happen right here? I think Prod's College Fund wins this.
Oh, as Kaidon dies to Daniel through the portal. Retirement home will remember that.
Oh, Lord. Okay. Does seem we're taking a quick break from the action while we wait for the broadcast to get back online. I rolled the wrong ending, man. I'm going to load my last save back up and get it back to where Kaidon actually gets the pentakill instead.
You got the bad ending. I like, yeah.
Yeah. So, unfortunate.
So if you're hanging out, if you're listening, or if you've been watching along, thanks for the patience as we're trying to kind of fix and get things back stable. As we go back in, looks like we are stable. Look at that. Easy peasy. So 9 minutes on the board, 6-2 currently, 3,000 gold or so in favor of Prod's College Fund. And we appreciate the patience, but we're back and we're rolling.
Oh, man, I missed gods being able to take 2 steps consecutively. Feels so good to see their full walk cycles. And yeah, College Fund still with a decent amount of gold in pocket. You're going to need that. Sunprod's got to go somewhere after graduating high school. We'll find out where that is because the Wheeling so far has not really been participant in too many fights. 0-1, and that's from the Archer minions, but now lurking in the bushes might change it.
Damage on. The last little alley-oop from the stars will take out Daniel.
Nice work so far. You can't ask for better than that.
Underneath ult 2 with the AC-130 strike. Got him.
Nice. Overall, across the map, Sunprod's team is just making it work so well with that global pressure. Like, doesn't matter if you are in the left lane or the mid lane. It still hurts quite a bit, especially when this Neath is 5-0. When did that happen?
I know, somewhere through the slides, the Neath kind of went nuts. Sot in trouble, has to turn around, take the lamp out, but you're in the lamp with one of the best characters in the game at the moment. I think Sot knows this is a tough task for anybody. Does have backup here in the form of the Loki. Goes for the up down, but he lands down. Is he dead? Yes, he is. Crow with the last hit. Still fighting through it is Sam for Soccer. Crow back out of the lamp. They still tussle. Ymir's there. Freeze on damage and a backstab, and down goes Crow.
That's the moment in the movie where someone like taps on your shoulder and like you have like the big burly dude like who's like breathing heavily out of their nose. That's Ymir right there, baby. Doesn't Ymir have a nose ring? What a badass. Love that guy. Nice kill there so far. Honor could be in trouble though. Kill Cam Kenny diving in.
I couldn't get through it.
He's dead. He's dead, by the way, guys. Baron got him.
That was entirely your fault. I refuse to take any blame for that.
I didn't say anything. Ymir's back, though. Look at that guy sauntering up with his piercing. Bro,
you're talking about it being like the big burly dude with the nose piercing, but I'm thinking of Ymir as like a goth girl at the bar.
I mean,
so
just as attractive to me at the very least.
That All right, well,
don't worry. I got this fight.
So
Giannis is in the fight as well.
Does he get it? Ult?
Nice.
Yeah,
hold on. Damage.
You broke me.
Kill. Well, it's going to be one last auto to take the kill on a Yarkor. All those piercings do not save you from raw basic attack damage. And Prod's College Fun Crusaders continue to parade across the map.
Okay, I'm good. In the jungle, Kaidon takes the fight with running around, the ultimate in place. Bit of a tough read, understandable to ult in place, but ult was online for running around. I think the distance might have covered that had Kaidon had been able to predict it, but obviously tough to do against the Loki. But overall, what a game so far for Prod's College Fun. I mean, they're bringing the mustard gas to the retirement home.
Oh God, that's horrid. But yeah, well, it's just a prank, guys. Just a little merry senior prank. We bring chemical warfare to the old folks' place instead of the magician like that. Someone's nephew comes in now. It's gonna be Sunprod with the tankards. I replaced your oxygen tanks with cyanide. Surprise! We'll see what happens to the mid.
Oh no, this game's got to get back on track. We're gonna be in trouble.
Jithins is waiting with crossed arms.
I can already see those comments on the Smite Prime bot on YouTube. They get haircuts and then all of a sudden they're so annoying.
It's gonna be great. Yeah, it's like Samson. You cut off the hair and all of a sudden all my decorum just goes away. But college fun, all the decorum in the world, all the pressure in the world. This is what we asked for as well. We said Sunprod, the rest of the friends got to make sure they were leveraging this pressure early on and ensure that the Wheelix doesn't get left behind. But now for retirement home, it's making sure that this Neath gets put in the dirt. 7-0 now is disgusting.
Pyromancer is being considered, but with Yark around the corner, it's a bit risky. Killcam Kenny seems to have called that out, and the step goes to mid. But like you said about the Neath, who is so far ahead, 7-0, the Neath is rotated to the mid lane. So this Pyromancer, very difficult to defend now for the 2 of retirement home. But you do have a Giannis. You can keep that distance. You can use through space and time, but you've got to use it now. The Pyro is almost dead, and there it goes.
These ultimates, man, from the honest, where are they? We're just not seeing them in the right moments. Left lane, you get a tier 1 for your troubles at the very least, so that's something. But this gold lead's starting to balloon. You're not even guaranteed this tier 1 Neath's on the way.
Okay, does have to step back. Plenty of farm, which does help a bit. Maybe this is a fight, though. You've got the Loki lurking, but same thing with that Awelish. The ult in from Loki. Look how much damage is on Final K before they could even kill the Neath. Now the Neath ultimate, and down goes running around. A double kill for Prod. All the damage from Baronary, and retirement home pay for thinking they could gank the Neath.
I mean, finally, it seems that Baronary just gets tired of getting all the kills in the team, but might change now.
The backflip, the damage, the lamp will be in time, but still, Baronary's holding left click, and left click is too strong for solo or troll.
Oh, what's crazy is if they'd stayed in the lamp a moment longer, that second Genie proc might have actually been enough on the 2 to kill Barrow, but they managed to just barely eke out. Disgusting work here in this duo lane. We said it before. Retirement home had kill pressure. They tried. They failed. They tried again. They got absolutely scorched for it. And now all of this is just a consequence. We talked about the snowball that Ymir on her can form, but no. Instead, Prod's the one throwing snowballs, and they've got chips of ice inside.
Baronary played played that how I play Assassin's Creed 1. You hold left click while the guards walk at you one by one, and it just kept working, and the kills piled up. Now 8-0 on that Neath. 2 did go to Sunprod in the previous engagement. So the College Fund Crusaders, they're up to 14 kills now to the 3 of Retirement Home. Gold, honestly, with the kill differential and the Gold Fury, Gold could be worse. Crow gets some focus, gets knocked up, but this is an Osiris, tough to kill, in the portal, out of the portal, into the decoy, lots of damage, still standing, somehow doing damage through. He's probably going to die if he take anybody with him through the portal. If there wasn't a second portal from Daniel, I think Crow would have gotten a kill. Osiris is fine, and... that is a kill.
Jesus,
a big pickup
man.
for Retirement.
Sunprod's there.
Goodness. Is this
Sunprod's on the way. Sunprod's in there.
That's it. Daniel down. Neath ult across the map. Right to Sot, but it's not in time. There it is.
That's the issue with having the left lane, sucker. If you were just in the mid, you would have gotten it a bit more timely. Obviously, though, in heavy pursuit of the Amir.
The ult through the portal.
Brilliant strategies. Up the velocity a bit more. Ares making the rotation, too. Yark could be in trouble.
There's a stun on Kaidan, which will slow it down. They're going to go for the cutoff instead. Also, look duo. Fine, okay, and Sot. Going to look for the gank on Baronary. We saw this not work last time. Baranary's auto's a little off the mark, but when he lands down, Sot's dead. Now the damage.
No!
Get off me! My name's Baronary! I've got so much damage when I hold left click. I don't care how many abilities you cycle through. 10-0 for Baronary.
Face the power of the sunbeam bow.
Oh my God,
Loki on the way. You really want to guys, please. I've seen this movie before. Jackie Chan goes through like 7 bad guys. No. Here they come.
Baronary starts holding. He's not even using that many abilities.
I can't see.
He's dead.
Oh!
The shutdown goes to Daniel. Running around almost died, but they're able to make it happen. All those combined years of the SPL equal 1 kill onto Baronary.
Jesus, man. What the hell is that? We're just really putting all in on 17 Black. We said, let it ride! And you know what? You finally came up with a winner. You're $10,000 in debt. Like, literally, they're about 10,000 gold in debt. But, yeah, feel good about that. Kill Cam Kenny?
Yeah, diamond hands. Kill Cam Kenny with the ultimate, but he might be dead before he even lands. Down he goes. Fine, okay with the kill. Now hang on, because Retirement Home is starting to stack those kills. Now looking at Kaidan. They do lose Fine, okay in the back line to Crow.
Crow's in the back.
He rotates. The damage back from the Osiris. He's got everybody in front of him low. Double kill for the Osiris, and he's still looking for more with Sot. As Retirement Home turns, they look for Sunprod. Crow is going to just keep on chasing through as the rest of the homies go down. There goes Sunprod, but Crow is still fighting the 1v9. He gets the trips. He's looking for Yark, and he's still full health. Crow gets another one.
Dear God!
Double goal to the lane Quadra, and Crow is still slinging, trying to bring down Daniel. So as much as Retirement Home gained back, Crow stands tall at the end.
Crows are normally scavengers, but this guy said, fine, I'll do it myself. Gotta make a meal somehow, buddy. 5-2 so quickly on this character, things can spool out of hand. All they need to have happen is there'd be like one more god to eat up some damage. We saw it before, nearly won the 1v3, now it's 3v1, and the one is the big ol' FG.
On to Fire Giant they go. My goodness. Baronary and Crow are just essentially playing a 2v5, and it's not even to disrespect the rest of the Crusaders, to be clear. They're still playing well. I mean, Kaidan, Prod, and Kenny are having fine games, but Crow and Baronary are just doing so much damage. The Fire Giant goes for free. The gold lead after Pyro will probably be a little bit over 10k. We call that uh-oh territory on Smite Prime. And it just continues. Now Daniel caught, brought down by the ultimate of Prod. The Feather Step doesn't quite find the kill.
God.
And Daniel gets the ultimate away.
POV, you are Daniel's ribcage. We just kind of see, looking good, buddy. Doing some ab workouts. The core's looking real strong, but the core of Prod's college fund is Baronary and Sunprod. Crow is also, in theory, part of it, but Crow's been part of so few fights. The issue is, though, when Crow is in there, it's just so impactful. Kill Cam Kenny's doing the job, like you said, and that job right now is to grab an easy-peasy Fury. Third one of the game, going right into that scholarship fund. They are going to soon be boosted up all the way to high academia. Retirement Home, on the other hand, they're starting to look out for funeral plots because, man, what can they do to counter? You've got to look for Kaidon, I think, as a start. That's the most squishy, easy target to find. Crow is just no longer an option. You cannot pluck that bird.
Bit of a map split currently. 2 in left lane for Prod's College Fund, 3 mid as they look for tier 2s. Defense out from Retirement Home looks like it'll be just on Phoenixes. They give up the split in solo at a tier 2, and maybe could look to defend further up instead. It is quite scary, though, because one thing we've talked about early on was the Wheelish countering. We haven't gotten to see that too many times, but as Retirement Home has kind of clawed their way back, that's when it could really start to rain ugly.
I mean, if you try to disengage now, you're just in so much trouble, but already trouble beginning here in the mid.
Oh, look at Crow in the backline just doing numbers onto running around.
Great impale!
Him back, still standing forward.
Dagger.
There is some fight back, but the Ymir just cannot stand through it. Yark will fall. The mid Phoenix is up next. Sunprod brings down Fine OK, and Retirement Home is looking at the barrel of a dangerous College Fund from the Crusaders. The damage is just too much to handle. They're back to their Titan, but the Crusaders do slow it down. They turn left. They don't want to overplay their hand. The experience of Retirement Home is a lot to go into.
They lost Sunprod, which means there's no way to counter the Aladdin Leap, and they're going to go for Kaidon, but the Lamp is going to catch Crow. That is not who you wanted.
Yeah, Sot learned this lesson earlier. The damage is just significant from that Osiris. The land down, just not enough for the Osiris, but plenty enough for the Hecate. Kaidon will fall. That's 2 deaths for the Crusaders to slow down their siege. Retirement Home still have 3 standing of their own, so this is potential to hang on, and it will certainly send back the Crusaders, at least for the time being, unless Crow!
Oh, God!
Hits the sickle, which was way too close. Now he steps back. Crow wants to bring Daniel down. He gets a shield as well. There's just so much going for this Osiris. The step away, the jump from Fine OK, and running around gets a massive shutdown onto Crow. No escape onto the team, but Killcam Kenny doesn't have much room to work with. The Impale sends him further. The slow, the Stampede answer. Is there a wall up from Yark? Should be soon. The Impale to set up for it. The wall, there's a crack. Kenny's still alive. The backup is here! It's no! Baronary's on the left click and Yark will fall! Turns for Fine OK! Here goes down!
No!
And Baronary backs up his support!
I got one word for you, Anthony. It's 2 syllables. You want to take a guess?
Go on, hit me.
Buy a letter, everyone. It's a U. It's an H. It's an I. S. B. Hubris. Why? Why are we investing so much for Killcam Kenny? Why did we impale him away? There's so much to talk about there because that fight took like 7 different stages. But my God. All right, let's talk about the fact that amazing pre-beads by Solar Trolls what got you that kill on a Kaidon. They managed to pre-beads the wrap, still get through it, and now we're going back in. Let's see you do this time, Sot.
Prod on the lamp, caught, brought down, running around, combines with Solar Troll to take out the Wheelish. A big pickup in the mid lane, but in the left lane, the siege is on to the Phoenix to bring it down. Baronary with the credit. Kenny, the chase is on. This time a portal catches. That should be enough, and Daniel gets the kill. Loki around the side, Baronary quite low. Running around, knows the value of this pick, but doesn't have enough backup close by, at least at the time being. Now the Sprite to get away. That avoids the through space in time. Are you serious? Baronary still able to back away. Meanwhile, in the mid lane, there is a push. Can they get far? Baronary steps up. The autos are too much and York will die! I thought that was a chance for the Retirement Home, but it was a chance for Baronary to do the same damn thing we've seen the whole game.
A great Dispel Magic there from Kaidon provides a bit more tank to spank with, and Baronary says that is plenty. Just let me sling my bowstring. I will handle any chump that tries to drop me. They machine gun down the Phoenix. Loki does do a good job of scaring and corralling the Hecate and Neath into that corner. Through space and time, though, off the mark again. Pagon can just not peg them down with that ability, and that is so much damage that's being left on the table, and now its body's being left on the floor.
The moonlight descends, and we step to the Fire Giant. A significant lead for the Crusaders, but notably, not as bad as it could be. And I've said that a couple of times, and I say that because Retirement Homes seem like they have something in mind. They have some form of strategy that's working. They are getting picks. They are holding on. They'll concede the Fire Giant. They send their ADC over to Primal Fury to grab it. The dagger, I'm assuming, will go to Crow or Baronary. Goes to Crow. Fire Giant's on 5, D-Lo. Mid Phoenix going to respond. A tier 2 in solo. What's next?
Death, destruction, bloodshed. Ymir might be the first one up on the chopping block. That tier 2 will go down. It's an Ancient Fury. Not really going to gain you much other than golden, denying that Ancient Fury debuff to College Fund. That's A-okay, man. They've built up enough funds to now try to just take it right mainline, direct down to base. 5v5, but FG on the side of the funds.
Here we go. This is going to be a tough one for Retirement Home. You have to imagine Baron area is a priority target if they can get themselves to the Neath, but can you get through that insane front line that the Crusaders have had so far? No escape used, will bring nobody back. Retirement Home actually hang on to the Phoenix, at least for the time being.
Scary stuff here, considering the poke that's being applied. That being said, Killcam Kenny can, of course, just regen that back up. That's what FG be doing. Sunprod lurks in the corner, waiting for someone to use a leap. Primarily has that ultimate in pocket, but we're starting to see Miltons get blown down. What is going on? Fast forward to the future, 3 members dead on home.
I don't know what happened. I don't think anyone does. The Phoenix goes down, and the Crusaders are stepping into the throne room. Retirement Home trying to hang on against the young guns, but the guns are blazing from Baron and company, and the Crusaders take the game from Retirement Home.
That's what Sunprod did. Sunprod, after this series today,
Baron Area was hitting the gratata.
Sunprod after this series is going to is looking up Google Maps. Retirement homes near me, just trying to practice. That's what they've been doing to train up. And man, oh man, was it effective. I mean, we can talk about Sunprod. Let's really give it over to Bayro. Disgusting work on that Neath. You can't compete with that.
You certainly cannot. The draft game was strong. The left click game was even stronger, I fear, for College Fund. And the Crusaders move on. Tough break for Retirement Home. But for us, we have our own break on the horizon. Thanks for hanging out. Don't go anywhere. More Smite Prime when we come back. Hello, everybody. Welcome on back to Smite Prime. Thanks for hanging out through the break. As we continue our day, we've made it all the way up to semifinals. That's right, really, semifinals. I'm still Malum. He's still D-Lo. Nice. Oh, Tester, the best. And we're still gaming. We're still going through. It's week number 3 of the November circuit for Smite Prime. Next week will be the closed bracket. This is still open bracket. And then that brings us to the end of our year next week. So make sure you keep watching today, but especially make sure you tune in next week for the conclusion of what's been a great year of Smite Prime. D-Lo, we got to see Retirement Home get put to bed, it seems. So how are we feeling about Sunprod's College Fund right now? Stocks are high.
I mean, stocks are high. Baron Area might be swiping away the funds right afterwards, buddy. I don't know. It seems like Sunprod's getting some very hefty donations from some very generous
you emptied out their 401ks.
Sunprod's going to wake up one day and see like a Bank of America notification like, wait, my account got closed? What's going on here? Baron Area just slowly sneaking off in the background, if you don't mind. Yeah, that was really impressive work. Honestly, the dual lane was pumping out damage. And we expected that from the other side. Ymir and on her, again, so aggressive. But honestly, Anthony, it kind of went... We talked about how that's our kind of duo comp, and it went just like how our duo games go. We got absolutely stomped. FineOK and JR just could not keep up.
Yeah, in stats do kind of show the full story. Now, I know I did hear during the break, I know you heard the same thing. FineOK seems like he might have been having some internet issues throughout the game, so unfortunately not the best foot for Retirement Home, but I still think there's a lot that Sunprod's College Fund put forward. I don't think you can deny the Crusaders of a lot of what we saw in that game. And in particular, one thing to me that stood out was the drafting, because, like I said, internet issues here, this, that, and the other. You can't deny the draft of a team.
Can't deny that Barrow's disgusting on this Neath pick. Look at this. Why are we even trying, Sot? I don't know. What were you doing there, buddy? It was a respectable attempt. They do finally put down the beast. Ding dong, the witch is dead. Back against the wall. Baron Ares literally being pinned against the locker. Daniel nails him finally with that through space and time. And that's the thing as well. Not even just the picks, though I do agree the picks left something to be desired. You leave that Osiris on the table and you get Sot on an Aladdin that doesn't feel too comfortable, and you pick up this Giannis, which you mentioned the fact that Yuzi's not been mentioning it. I see the reason why. I don't see a reason to mention it. Didn't really get a lot of damage across, but that Osiris, man, this fight in particular, Crow sweeps him away.
Crow just followed everybody, killing. I mean, this is like a
Omen of Doom.
slasher villain in a horror movie. It was the Michael Myers walk with the with the butcher's blade and everybody's back. There was nothing Retirement Home could do to stop it in that instance. And Daniel gets away, but pretty much barely. So Prod's College Fund
Yeah.
and the veteran. It's crazy to kind of see. We expected the Aladdin to equal victory, but it does not in this instance. But that brings us to our semi-finals. We're going to be watching Clocked In versus the Smite 2 Bad Boys. And the other end of the semifinals bracket, we're going to see Crusaders versus We Know.
Yeah, this is going to be an interesting two sets of matchups. Smite 2 Bad Boys, we used to call them the Bridesmaids. They still have yet to really get that bouquet. And they're up against Clocked In, who have been married 7 times. They're at this point, it's just going to probably be for the celebration. We're not even waiting for the matrimony to actually be respected. We know
Only
that's
7.
not going to be till death do they part. It's going to be till death do Smite 2 Bad Boys part instead. And on the other side, it's going to be Sunprod's team facing up against We Know You Cheated, which is pretty funny. We didn't see them cheat. We instead saw them play with Cyrus. Might as well be the same thing. It feels like cheating.
While we wait for picks and bans, make sure you've entered the giveaways on both Smite Game and, of course, over on Smite Prime. And check out the art contest as well. But picks and bans are just about ready. Not quite there yet. I baited you. Make sure you enter the art contest. SmitePrime.com. You can check out the submissions beforehand, vote on them. There's the best part is, D'Lo, my favorite thing about all the artwork on there. One, the attempt at humor. If you're not the best artist, I am that person. Even some of the craziest ones we've seen, like Hindu Man's, I'll use as the example, is still significantly better than what I could put forward. But not a hint of AI in there, which is pretty freaking cool to me. But make sure you submit, you get yourself involved with it, and you check out the submissions we've had already. And thanks for hanging out. And don't forget the giveaways. That's kind of the big thing. Exclamation point giveaway in twitch.tv/Smite Game and twitch.tv/Smite Prime.
Yep.
Okay, D'Lo, your turn.
Make sure to double dip in those streams, folks. Thank you very much. Passing the talking stick, why don't you? Yeah, so the matchup we're watching here is going to be Clocked In versus my 2 Bad Boys on the stream. Clocked In, honestly, at this point, it's just getting more game tape for them. They're really doing a favor to the enemies by giving them a chance to try to figure out how the heck do we beat this team. It's a question that for this bracket has not really found any answer. And what does my 2 Bad Boys have to bring? We've seen them win once before, but it wasn't during a finals. It was during the finals of the open bracket, where they actually were able to take it all the way to the end. So they don't have inexperience with these high pressure situations, but oftentimes Clocked In, the issue is people just kind of try to play to defeat them rather than play their own game of Smite 2. You have to recognize that you still need to play to your strengths, not just play to trying to thwart the immense strengths of Paul and the rest of the posse, because that's just impossible.
Yeah, Clocked In is just... I feel like one of the things that makes Clocked In look so strong is something that we beat to death in Founder Series, which is there are just some teams in Smite 2 that understand farming at a different level to where no matter what the other team accomplishes, they could be 14-4, like we saw in this most recent game with College Fund versus Retirement Home, but they get so behind in farm, it's not even a contest. And that's something that Clocked In seemed to master even as recent as last week in the grand finals. They could fall down in kills. They could even lose an objective or two. But if you can't out-farm them and you can't cut off their farm, you can't hang with them. They're going to be level 17 by the time you're just hitting 15.
That's what we saw with Beru before, but it feels like every single member of Clocked In is liable to do that exact same thing. They have just some of the best players, and if you let Paul attract all your attention, someone else is going to be right behind you with a big baseball bat and go doink, home run. So, semifinals here. High pressure. You want to try to make it to the end. You want to try to get those points. And you want to just play more games, get more tape beneath your belt, try to understand the experience of facing these higher grade teams to go into that closed bracket with all the experience possible. And it comes down to, again, P's and B's. It did feel like that last game was kind of sold at the drafting board. What do you do in this scenario? Aladdin's got to be a ban. Pre-rework Aladdin is not an option to give to Paul. You can't let Osiris through. I don't think ESET's a good call to let through either. Yamoja's been receiving top bans quite frequently for good reason as well. That's already 4 top bans, Anthony. And the issue is there's some metas, and I feel like this is still one of them that me and Musi have talked about frequently, where second pick, feels better than first pick oftentimes, because unless that's getting the Osiris or getting that ESET, you're oftentimes handing over 2 gods that have a combined value worth far more than whatever one you picked as your top.
Yeah, that I guess that kind of is the tough thing. Let's hope there's no silly gooses letting Osiris through.
Yeah,
It could
like
get
for
bad.
real though, that's the one case where then first pick feels amazing, and that's why you almost can never risk giving it away, because there's the possibility that
We've
the
been
enemy
casting
team
together
won't
way
ban
too
it.
long that you just looked right past that. You're like, yeah, that's it. Yeah.
What do you mean? I have no idea what you're talking about. Anthony, we've been at this for years. You and I might as well be married. There's not a ring to prove it, but oh, that's kind of cute. I like that, buddy. That's adorable.
You and I might as
That's
well
cute.
be married. That's the calm as we go into picks and pits. Starting off our semi-finals, Clocked In versus the Smite 2 bad boys. So was that a proposal or was that a reminder? Because I felt more like a reminder.
You'll get a
Did I
big fat
miss something?
cyclopean ring when it happens, buddy. You'll see it. I promise you. I'll buy that.
Ooh.
I'm gonna buy like only ring items, and I'll be like, Anthony, will you be my duo for all of eternity till
you.
death do us part? And then I'll die instantly in lane right after, so we'll be freed.
Do you
from
have
that
life
contract
insurance is the biggest
shortly.
question I need to know before we get to that
I have
point.
life binder. Which is even better.
I'll take it. Hey,
Top support
Lifebinder's been pretty nasty in this tournament. It's been one of the,
It has!
the strongest items in the entire thing. So I guess I'll take that. You know, I
Yeah.
can use a Lifebinder.
It's
I'll go to a bank and hold
way
them up
better.
with Lifebinder. That's a joke.
Scary. Guys, for all legal purposes, that is a
That's a
joke.
joke.
Jormungandr, not a joke apparently. Everyone really wants to see it gone. To me, I don't see that personally as a top threat necessary to ban away. But nonetheless, John Rowing says, get it out of here, and to John Rowing we shall listen. Baron is the ban alongside that Agni. Those two don't surprise me.
I'm kind of with that one. I feel like I don't know. Maybe this is definitely a hot take. No one's going to agree with me. Yorm's looked underwhelming to me every time I've seen it so far in these last 2 weeks. I'm not saying it means the character's bad. I'm sure it's good, but just every time I've seen it, it's kind of looked underwhelming. There was one time I think I saw it blow somebody up, and that was pretty cool. But other than that, when I've seen it in this tournament, it's not been a standout pick. So I feel like when I see it banned, I'm kind of like, okay, but was there something better?
Sure.
I guess we'll see the proof of that as we get through the semifinals and then into grand finals. But alongside it is the Jingwei, which is pretty interesting. A target ban onto Hydrogen, one of Hydrogen's signature picks, if not the signature pick. And then the Achilles with the Hoonbots. That leaves a lot open. A lot.
Like
the
Osiris, what are we doing? What are we... Okay, really?
And the ESET.
Really? Okay, now, but here's the issue now.
Who gets the Silly
You've now
Goose
left-
Award? Who gets it?
You've...
Clocked In
Whoever
got
lets
the
that thing
Silly
get
Goose
through.
Award!
You guys do. Bro, holy crap. What a GameStop trade. I am so pissed right now. But you know
GameStop
what? To be
trade.
fair, we're thinking about one thing, is that it's Clocked In. They have a plan. They're not worried. I think they're looking at that and they're saying, finally, a worthy challenge. As they see Smite 2 bad boys grab 2 of the best picks for those respective roles. That front line is going to be so difficult to deal with.
Yeah, I can agree with that for sure. And the Emoja, to me, is underrated. It's been banned, but it's underrated in just being the forefront of our minds. Last week, I fell into that same trap, and then I saw Yemoja essentially hard carry the game just by positioning alone, and they were some of the most insane Rivers Rebukes I've seen. So excited to see that from Aurora. Now, on the other side, Merlin and Thor to go with the ESET. So that does confirm the ESET to support with the aspect as we've seen a few times, but how are we feeling?
Apprehensive. Not about Paul on the Merlin. That's always a good pick. I just still don't like the fact that we let Osiris and Yemo get away. Osiris can wander through the wall with their passive, so having that is a nice way to kind of ignore that player-made geography. ESET has no way to get out of the waves. Merlin has Flicker. Thor's got TP. At the very least, the fact that this Yemoja is top-locked means there are ways for Clocked In to try to counter it. I still want to see a shell, no matter what, come from that team. If they don't respect this Yemo enough, they're going to be screwed. Alongside the Uller, fantastic training wheels for the Axe. Sun Wukong for even added CC. Wait a second, where's that going to go? That must be a solo Wukong Osiris jungle, is what I'm going to say here. Scream does like to sometimes pull some wacky things out of the hat.
And with how good Osiris is, that would make a lot of sense. Does, of course, beg the question as to who Paul's going to play. Paul can play anything in the game. We know that for sure. But, or excuse me, not Paul. I'm looking at the other side of Moswall. Moswall can play just about anything in this game. Same thing applies. I've seen Moswall do some pretty varied picks. I feel like there might be an Uller, though, in Moswall's pocket. There's something in my memory that's ringing about that. But what I'm kind of more interested in is the ADC for Clocked In, because ADC does kind of feel like where Clocked In haven't had the most trouble. That feels like a bit of an injustice for me to say, as Hydrogen's look strong, but we did see the target ban already, and I don't know quite how deep Hydrogen's God pool can go. And looks like the answer might be a Sasano, so taking something out of Tegvir's book, perhaps, or yeah, so maybe Tegvir going to ADC this game?
Yeah. I mean, Anthony, you're the one who's pointing this out to me time and time again.
Yes, please, give me the credit. I'll take it. Hang on. Let me put on the correct glasses for you being so sweet to me.
By all means. So, in this case, Sasano as... beautiful. It's going to be Sasano likely as ADC, something that Tegvir has run several times during the Founder Series run. And Anthony, you're very familiar with that, so tell me, exactly what bloody path did Tegvir carve across Founder Series with that pick in that role?
Tegvir on the Sasano was one of my favorite ADC picks that we saw. It was pretty consistent week by week. He became a nightmare for even the most experienced ADCs, even players like Zapman, of just playing the Sasano, getting early pressure, getting early picks, getting ahead, and then rotating through early and being a nightmare in team fights. So it does make sense that there's a potential role swap there. I do wonder, does Hydrogen have the same pick, though? Because Hydrogen's somebody who plays a little bit off-kilter picks at times. We've seen that with the Jingwei, the builds that Hydrogen puts forward. I wouldn't be shocked to see Hydrogen rocket either and maybe put some confusion in the minds of the Smite 2 bad boys. I hope you like the glasses, too. I can't see anything, so I'm going back to the OGs.
They're very cute. It's a big fan. Where'd you buy those?
Totally didn't steal them from my wife.
Oh, sick. Well, hopefully Victoria does not mind. But nonetheless, we got some really solid compositions here on both sides. I am still very scared about the front line that we have from the Smite 2 bad boys. That's dangerous. It's Osiris, it's Yemo, it's tons of CC, it's tons of mitigation, and it's just a lot of damage at the same time. Again, Osiris can 1v3. Do you shut that down early? Are you able to even shut that down early? Is there a weak point in the Osiris game? I haven't got enough data to track whether or not there's a moment where the God of the Dead stumbles. That being said, on the other side, you have this E-set support, which grants you a lot of objective secure. That's nice. I'm expecting us to see a similar story where the pressure is mounting on this dual lane firsthand. And whoever starts to get that built up, it could very well result in the same Sunprod's College Fund scenario where you snowball out through a victory played up in the dual lane, grab the first Fury, it's all curtains from there. If Clocked In, I think, get that first Fury, it's done. Smite 2 bad boys have a little bit more to work for just because who they're facing against. It is Clocked In. There is boss music in the background. There are trembles going down our spines. And even with those two top picks that you got on your side, that by no means, Anthony, is going to guarantee you a victory here in semis.
Thanks for hanging out and being patient. As you can tell, we're buying some time. We'll have the game up here as soon as we're able to and get our semifinals started. In the meantime, make sure, as we've mentioned a few times, you're joining the giveaways in both the Smite game and Smite Prime Twitch chats. Exclamation point giveaway in either one gets you entered. And check out SmitePrime.com while you're waiting to check out some of the art that we've seen. We should be in game here hopefully soon. But again, appreciate you hanging out. Nothing off topic this time. I was fairly tame. I'm behaving.
Well done. Well done. Well, I'll get us there, Anthony. What'd you have for breakfast, buddy?
I haven't had it yet. I won't lie to you. I'm a little bit on the hungry side. I'm starting to get there. So, I'm kind of on team. Let's get the games going, actually. But I do have some leftover kabuki waiting for me, so that's big.
Ooh, that is good. What do I have? Chili. I made
that's
a
where
lot
I got
of
this little
chili
guy
recently.
from was kabuki.
Oh, really? Dude, adorable. What were you sipping on? What was it? Were you sipping on like?
It was not a tea for teen drink. It was not a tea for tea drink. So.
Oh,
I know.
Saucy
got a little crazy
booth.
last night. Yeah. But hey, I made it for the chat.
I mean, if Smite 2
I,
bad
I like
boys
how I said
win
I
this.
was going to behave. I wasn't going to go off the rails, and then you pulled me off the rails, and now we're on a different track.
Dude, I shoved you onto the tracks.
Yeah.
I said, all right, good. Have it your way, idiot. I shoved
Yeah,
you like
literally.
Kevin.
Those bingo
I
cards
did it
are
like
just-
Spacey did in House of Cards. My bad, buddy. I'll get us back on there, okay? So, all right.
Yes.
Let's think back to this draft.
Hey,
Let's think back to the game.
Whoa! We're in game. I see a stun. I see a first blood. It goes to Scream on the Osiris. Is there a second blood too? Yes, there is a double kill for Scream to start the game. Sorry for the jump scare at home. I got us too, but we're in. Wow.
Okay. Tagvir's playing Susano. That's cool. So, guys, let's talk about... He said ADC. Oh, okay. That is what we're going for here instead of having that Susano take up that role. The shell is being borne by the ESET at the very least, so they managed to fulfill one of the things I asked, but at the same time, unfortunately, you gave 2 kills over to the worst person possible. Scream on Osiris jungle. That is something to be absolutely terrified of.
Very much so. Now, again, hang out with us as we get these technical issues figured out. Appreciate the patience so much so far today. Fight mid? Does it turn into a kill is the big thing. Looks like not for the time being. But yeah, I'm with you. The Osiris getting the double first blood is just a nightmare scenario with what we've seen Osiris doing. And my mic stand just fell off, Dilo, so the issues just continue today. I'll be holding my mic stand for the rest of this game, I guess, until I can fix it. Oh my goodness, it's just off the desk. Yep. Tagvir gets a kill, and that means
Scream's off the board. Rough.
This is fun.
Scream gets 2 kills, instantly gets humbled quickly by Tagvir. So, all right, we're glad to see that things are at the very least instantly being stamped out. That flame that was about to just burn up everyone has now been extinguished a little bit, or at the very least pacified. The embers are still certainly burning. But as we wait for the technical difficulties to get sorted out here, we can talk a bit more about what we just saw. ESET ADC. Now, this is where,
fix this while you talk.
Of course, her aspect comes into play, but also the fact that +1, those enhanced autos, it's a natural polyproc, and if you're building enough intelligence, then that's what normally is going to work into it. But there's so much to talk about with this. You reduce prots with your silence. That's already such an amazing thing for an ADC. There's a lot of aspects of ESET's kit that just makes sense to transition her to that role. Tagvir, if I'm not mistaken, I didn't have time even to see what role. I don't think that they were the support. Were they? Because they were over in the Flame Brand's pit getting that kill on a Scream. So it's still Scream jungle. Or sorry, still Tagvir jungle, right?
Yeah, I believe it's still Tagvir jungle. I think the ESET is over in ADC. And then I guess would be the Ymir.
Who's this? Where are we right now? Okay.
I guess it'd be Ymir Happen, which I do like. I've talked before about I like Happen much more on aggressive supports. Also, I'm just going to straight Freddie Mercury this. I got no other option. This is
Sing me some Queen, buddy.
Everything's fine. Nothing's on fire here. Yeah. Speaking of champions, you saw anyway. Happen on aggressive supports. I really am not a fan of when Happen plays more passive supports. We've seen it a few times in the past. But when Happen plays aggressive supports, it's one of the best versions of Happen we tend to see. So I'm pretty excited to see that.
We've also, though, seen prior Happen get eviscerated by a solid jungle. That was Sunprod before. Now it could be Scream. You really got to make sure you're being careful. I do agree, though. I like to see Ymir in general. I also, of course, like to see Happen stay alive. But yes, it was Tagvir that was able to snag that kill on top of Scream, grab Flame Brands right afterwards. So that is certainly a good way to get things going. Can they continue the pressure? That is the ultimate question. Happen finally freeze.
Back in game, Gold Fury up, Moonlight descends, and the battle rages. Hydrogen low, but fighting on. Scream just does too much damage. Roar with the last hit, but the damage, we see where it's coming from. This Osiris is hitting hard. Now the pullback onto Roar, but seemingly just completely A-okay and able to get away. Also, Soul Lane, some trouble for John Rowing, who just got up in ult in time. The up-down, the hunt down, the spin. Is there a hammer? There is. One auto should do the trick and get the solo. Bang! Karmic solos John Rowing.
That is not what I had on my bingo card. Okay, solid work there. Tyrone to keep up that pressure. Here comes Tegvir, sweeps up Mosswall with a quick Typhoon. That's classic. Smite Prime champion Tegvir. Sorry, my friend, didn't say the full title. Dude's got the accolades and everything.
Absolutely. Coming up on 7 minutes now, 3-3. Early gold lead actually swings back over to the blue side of things. So that's pretty surprising, all things considered. Clocked in getting back in the lead after how we saw this one start off.
Now, could be some additional aggression here. Just a roar is only necessary to find these kills happen. You've wandered up way past your prime, buddy. Now all Smite Prime can see Donut Dog gets the last arrow to the heart. Destructive work there, and it's all what you'd expect. This Yemo Uller combo is so tried and true for the last, 3 months of circuits, because Moonstrike gives you such an obvious window to land that axe right after. The pick comp is certainly picking, but there's also great team fight potential as well when you consider that Vulcan and what it can add to the entire ensemble. Tons of objective confirm on each side, but the issue is going to be come that late game. Hydrogen just is going to have it better. That secure, actually at the same time though, it's an ESET ADC, so potentially not. Kind of tilting the favor a little bit more towards Mosswall in the mid, but over on the right side, Karmic able to grab that kill on top of John Rowing. Another 20 seconds down there for the Monkey King. That does not feel good considering how much pressure is already being mounted by the Thor. And once you think about that ultimate and where it could wander, the mid lane's going to have to be trembling a bit in their boots. At the very least, though, the pillow fight in the mid lane does open up for a little bit longer. Does mean that side of order, our friends on Clocked In, can try to leverage a bit more pressure as well through that. Gold leads slightly in their favor, but I will note our friends on the Smite 2 Bad Boys are putting up quite the fight here, and no small part thanks to these top line picks. Scream and Aurora. Scream and Aurora. These are the names that need to constantly be on your lips when you're asking the question of who to look at. Right now, Aurora, Aurora, Aurora. That is the answer. It's a roar of defiance from the MO as they go down. Tegvir cuts them out and grabs one more kill for our friends on Clocked In. Oh, could be
Killing spree indeed. Damage left too. Scream in trouble, chase down, but no. Maybe the trouble is actually for Hydrogen. I'd be scared to tangle with an Osiris in the jungle right now.
Nice
Same
wall.
thing mid lane. Mosswall will fall. Paul gets the kill.
That's okay, Thor. Karma can even need that ultimate. We don't mind one bit. John Rowing, though, comes through, sweeps in with the Ox form, and actually breaks that Ymir into smithereens. So keeping this kill count rather in tow. 6-5 in favor of Clocked In still, but this Thor's sticking around, going right back in.
Could potentially get it. Paul's here too. Do you actually go for it? No, it looks like the call is patience, or maybe not. Around the side, Tegvir looking for an opening, has the E-set there for backup. There's going to be two fights that break out, one to the left already, favoring the side of Clocked In. They should find a pick here. They do. Scream goes down. Tegvir with the last hit. Tegvir is just taking everybody on this one. A double kill for the Susano. Chasing down a third. Aurora will fall. Trips for Tegvir.
6-0. 6-0. We've seen this story here for Bayro. Now it's in a different role, but just as scary of a player on their Hallmark God as well. Nothing feels better than getting 6-0 10 minutes in on your fave. So much comfort, so much experience, so much lethality packed here into this player-sized package.
Part of me shouldn't even be surprised with what we've seen from Tegvir on this Susano. Just the definition of a comfort pick, I suppose. Happen now defending the purple and actually kind of getting the better of the 1v1 with Donut Doug, who then has to jump away in fear, kind of understandably so, all things considered. But across the map, Dilo, 9-6 now, a couple thousand gold favoring Clocked In. It seems like, and I could be wrong in saying this, but Clocked In just... they have the pacing and the tempo of Smite 2 completely figured out.
Yeah, this has been a really good methodology of how to set that rhythm in your favor. And really, it's wherever Tegvir is. Tegvir is the one who controls momentum. They are the conductor of this entire symphony. Spirit Ball comes out, but a lot more damage being pumped out by the Yemo. This E-set and Ymir are both 0-3. When do we get to see the duo Bear, it's flowers. It might just be having to wait for the team fights, but so far, ESET ADC, I'm yet to be convinced. Obviously, these spirit balls, these circles of protection are what we know them for, and even those aren't finding too much damage. Your worthiest target is going to be Moss Wall, but we're not going to see any rotations come out from the ESET to find those big fat spirit balls on the vulnerable target for quite some time.
I'm also afraid of something you mentioned is that just being behind is tough, but whenever we see someone have rage and we see them notably behind their opponent, I get panicked because it's difficult enough to build those stacks in a game where you're ahead. We actually saw that from Hydrogen last week on Jingwei. They bought that rage, and it wasn't stacked by the time they won the game, and they were ahead by about a dozen kills. So to see that in this instance is frightening. But speaking of frightening, Clocked In, catch the Gold Fury. Being done. Right now the turrets are kind of in a 1v1 with the objective, but that kept it up. Now it's down below 1,000. Scream able to get the Gold Fury still, despite it getting pulled away by Clocked In. Now for the fight after the fact. Not going to be there. The Riptide to get away. It's a clean heist for the Smite 2 bad boys.
I guess it was Vulcan's day off, but luckily Scream was there to cover your shift, but can you cover here in the left lane?
Nope. You cannot. Hydrogen will fall and just kind of gets caught in no man's land, it felt like, after that fact. Now 0-4 on this E-set, making it even harder to catch up. And you've got so much going wrong across the map right now for the side of Smite 2 bad boys, but at least they're keeping the pressure on Duo and keeping Hydrogen behind.
Next 10 seconds, Hydrogen's looking in the Google bar. Does actual anger build up my rage stacks? No, not quite, friendo, but it does put you in tilt, so be careful, Hydrogen. Gotta make sure you're still keeping a cool head, like my friend Happen here. And this is what we were worried about, Anthony. We said Happen can sometimes have some rough games. In general, I feel like the dual lane of Clocked In is sometimes a weak point. They are right now struggling. Whereas Paul, it's the classic case where like Paul's just kind of having their regular game. They've gotten their tower taken down. They're just playing a survival Minecraft server at this point. Thor's also doing amazing. Once Karmic makes these rotations, that is going to be impactful. I'd love to see them take an early TP over to this left side, but instead it's Tegvir making the rotation.
You see the chase, and you can see the focus. When you've got the Ymir here, too, it's good as dead. Doesn't even need a Typhoon. Tegvir is now unstoppable.
Finally, stack of rage there for the E-set. Also stacks up Funeral Rites, that passive. So all good things here for Clocked. And you don't have to necessarily be the one getting the kills, but you certainly want to be witness to them as well. Gold Fury is not up for quite some time, so the only thing you can get is some more kills. But Happen says, no, I'm tired of bloodshed, and walls off the Yemo instead.
But still, there's commitment. The Smite 2 bad boys are looking for it. Vulcan around the side, Earthshaker to cut off an exit route. The damage is already down. You can see how low Hydrogen's gotten from barely anything connecting, but they do have the distance to separate themselves and get away. So no new deaths for the Clocked In duo lane, but they do lose out on their farm.
You know what's interesting about the Vulcan and E-set? But both of them are very good at just tossing abilities over walls. Only thing Hydrogen could do is attack the target they see, so they tried to sink some abilities into the MO, and it did Bupkiss, right? Whereas Vulcan was not able to land that Earthshaker or the Meatball, which would have certainly resulted in Hydrogen's end, but I like the fact that they played from the shadows, knowing exactly what you're supposed to do in that scenario. Flame Brand's going to be secured here by Clocked In. This solo side of the jungle has just been all blue so far, and Karmic starting to beat the Sun Wukong black and blue. Can Rowan get away this time is going to be the question. Answer is yes. Seems like they're going for the farm more than anything, but in the mid lane, could be different stories. Ymir tries to set up a sneaky gank.
Moonlight descends too, so fun time to get a fight brewing. You're caught Clocked In there on screen, getting that last second farm before the Fire Giant spawns. Now I point that out because Fire Giant's up. Clocked In is a team that I have seen consistently not be afraid to pull fire early. Are they afraid to back up Karmic? Karmic can't even get into the sky before the pick is there. So now that's 4v5, and tough time to have that with the amount of farm in the map. But to go back to this Fire Giant point, kind of my biggest thing is the only time I've seen Clocked In lose a Fire Giant was last week when we saw kind of a sneaky pull against Clocked In. And they still managed to get there, contest, and make a fight at Fire, and they won the game off of it. So if I'm Smite 2 bad boys, I'm watching that Fire Giant from here on out just to make sure Clocked In can't sneak it from under our noses.
That is going to be something to watch out for. In general, it's a scary idea when you consider how good of a macro team Clocked In is. Right now, we got the micro in our focus. We got a Roar in our sights. Wind Siphon does catch him.
Here's the commitment, here's the damage, there's the death, and it goes to Hydrogen. A much-needed pickup for the E-Set ADC, but meanwhile, Paul leading the way, setting up the damage for the squad. They back it up. The wall was good, but the jump away seems clean. Now an Earthshaker to dispel things, but the real dispel was from Hydrogen all along, as Happen gets the credit. One for the support too, also helpful considering the state of the duo lane. And Clocked In, go right to the Gold Fury. This should be free.
What was 0 stacks quickly has become 3 for that Rage. Karmic could be in trouble in the mid lane, though. Gotta make sure you don't give anything to the enemy team in exchange for that Fury. Just keep yourself free, buddy. A quick TP on out does ensure their safety. And with that Fury now in the pockets of Clocked In, they can feel good to get a big objective on the board and the lead as well. I want to talk, though, about what I'm worried about in the future. Despite Clocked In winning that fight, well, that's away. Here's one right now.
You see the knockup back, Karmic in trouble, still holding on to that ultimate, as the capture point should go the way of the bad boys, as there's not much contest coming from Clocked In at the time being. The most was from Karmic, who has now backed away. So I think you're good to go to your point.
Huge. It's that ESET's active range now changes. When you're auto-attack focused, your active range is now shrunken, right? Spirit Ball is so much range. You don't really need to be super participant in the fights. You know, you could be like a whole zip code away. Sun Wukong's going to get to that same location. They're in trouble. Is able to escape, but Karmic's in the sky.
The chase, the slam, the damage is answered by the Somersault Cloud, but you can see Karmic is still on the hunt now. Turns, though, doesn't chase all the way. Wall no good mid. So things should fizzle. I mean, Techveer's around. You could go for the tier 2 if you want to, but it does feel slightly ambitious.
Maybe just a bit too much. Okay, fine. Let me finish, guys, here, please. ESET's range changes. You now have... You're seeing them step in front of the Amir. And a 1 in 4 ESET, you don't want to see them in front of their front line, whereas before you could just be very safely behind, sniping people with Wing Gusts and Spirit Balls. Now that all changes. Pyromancer goes to our friend Happen, and the rest have Clocked In, and they're starting to try to grow this lead a bit more. FG very well could be next.
I mean, I would be afraid to run into a 1v1 with the E-Set right now, with the crit online and that Hydra's Lament. You are going to get hit pretty hard by a nice little Spirit Ball combo. But, I mean, even still, to your point, it's just not as intimidating as what we're kind of accustomed to. I'd love for Hydrogen to make me a believer in it, but I guess we'll see. There's the pull in, some damage back. That is a pick! Paul gets that one. John rowing down. Maybe the time to believe is now. The chase is on. The wall is great. The second wall's even better. And Hydrogen finds their second kill. Clocked In, walk right to the Fire Giant. And like I said, Smite 2 bad boys just kind of get caught, and they should lose the Fire Giant for doing so.
Tier 2 tower goes down the left side. At the very least, you get something there for that Uller. But, Anthony, the beginning of this game started with such chaos. We didn't get to talk about this. 2 shells for Clocked In. Smite 2 bad boys have 0. Being a rebel doesn't always make you cool, buddies. Sometimes the established tradition is there for a reason. You need that relic. There's a Ymir wall and a Thor wall. They made a literal 90-degree angle. They made an enclosure, and everyone pointed at the members inside and threw tomatoes and threw autos and threw abilities, and they died. It's so rough when you have amazing synergy between these two obstacle creators. And in those situations in the jungle, you're going to get killed every single time.
The map should start to be cleared. Clocked In have always been good about this, just a clean sweep of the map. But Smite 2 bad boys are a team that do know how to defend, so you can't really write them off quite yet. Karmic has ultimate, should use it early. There it is to get away. Left side of the map, Tier 1 should fall. Tier 2 will probably be pressured. The bad boys are split across the map, however, in the short term.
We were looking towards this Osiris and Yemo combo to be what's really the saving grace, and unfortunately, it just has not gotten to find its day. Moswell sends up the rockets, it's more of a fireworks show to celebrate the Tier 2 going down, and the left side Bird very well could be up next, though Thor and Sun Wukong are not with the team.
But will you pay for using that early? I know there's cooldown on the Vulcan, but now you don't have ult for the defense of your Phoenix. Maybe you don't need it. Techveer able to get away. Some chases on. Dagger used by Techveer. A second life for the Susano. Clocked In, step back up. They step back away. Happen would be the charge in. It's not quite there. Karmic is also not here, notably on the right jungle at the time being.
In hot pursuit instead of this Yemo. on the right side. Can, of course, rejoin the fight quickly once the Anvil of Dawn's back up, which should be in the next 15 seconds or so. So at the very least, you don't have to worry about that too much. Now it might just be a concerted effort up this mid lane. The Ancient Fury's up, though. It seems they want to expose more of these Phoenixes first before going for that objective.
Whoa, man, so much damage on John Rowing. Just stuck between the wall. Goes down. Third kill for Paul this game. The other Wukong, that's tough. With the
they
Rivers
need
of
you.
You lose Mozball, it's even worse. And the dominoes continue to fall. Double kill for Paul as a roar goes down. Clocked in, take out 3 members of the Smite 2 bad boys without breaking a sweat. Now the Phoenix Siege is on. The bad boys don't have a lot to defend. Paul steps up with Happen. That's another kill just as quickly. And Dilo, I fear we're looking down a GG as Clocked in, eyes on Grand Finals, into the throne room, onto the Titan. There's only so much Donut Dog
Leave
can
him
do.
alone.
Dude might not even survive in the fountain. My goodness. Matter of fact, that focus on Doug has brought the health bars Clocked in low, but they get the pullback.
Come on!
They get the kill. Tegvir's divine. The Titan will fall, and Clocked in are going back to the Grand Finals.
You see that wall from Karmic at the end there? Literally made sure, even if they wanted to try to put themselves up an attempt, they literally could not dare sequester. You know what could have stopped that? Little relic called Shell. But hey, who am I but just a caster? It's unfortunate, man. Smite 2 bad boys. We've seen it time and time again. Always a bridesmaid, never a bride. This time, they didn't even make it into the bridal party. Locked out at semis.
Never a bride to be, it may seem. But with that, we'll be right back. When we come back from this short break, we have our grand finals. So do not go anywhere. Enter the giveaways, check out the art, and we'll be back soon on Smite Prime. Oh, we transitioned in on the break of the song. Perfect timing there from Tess. But welcome back from break. It is grand finals time. It's the last week of Open Bracket. Next week is the conclusion of the year of Smite Prime. But we got one more week of Open Bracket. We have one more best of 3 set today. I'm Malum. He's Dilo. And we are just about there. I'm pumped for this one. We have a rematch from last week, which... Hey, we've talked about it today. We've hinted at it. Clocked In's that team to beat. And Sunprod's team, they had some signs of potential of doing it last week.
Yes.
Can they lock in on that potential and bring down Clocked In will be the question that needs answer.
Does Baronary go 10-0 again? That, I think, is going to be a pretty big decider in that fact. And if Tegvir as well. Actually, like, Loki, now I think about it, it's the 2 Titans, right? It's those 2 members of those 2 games who went absolutely ham. The most dominant things we've seen on stream today. But talking about that last matchup we just saw, Hydrogen, hey, you brought it back with that E-set. I'm not going to lie. Still not convinced that it is the most effective way to play the God. I still like support better. But nonetheless, it worked out because of that double duo pressure of Karmic and Tegvir. Paul's 4-0, but that's like kind of just the passive of being Paul. That's their +1. And Smite 2 bad boys. Now looking back at it with that one fight in mind, I really do think the lack of shells was unfortunately a really big oversight that cost them quite a lot.
I can't believe the ESET ADC worked the way it did, especially how it started. That's the thing that gets me. Sometimes I feel like I simplify kind of what I'm looking for, but I was hating that ESET ADC, and I wouldn't say a believer, but I ended being unbothered by it.
Agnostic, maybe. We're not quite fully into it yet. You're not going to see me at church praying to ESET ADC, but you know, I'll keep my mind and heart open to it at the very least. Opening up Ulur's ribcage.
Yeah.
Is Tegvir as they make that rotation. Just like look at Tegvir. All these clips are just Tegvir's highlight reel, and unfortunately, anyone who they come across as low light, Aurora goes down there too. It's just brilliant work on Sasano. Might be worth the ban.
One of my favorite players to watch, honestly. I think Tegvir is not underrated. I think Tegvir is well respected. I think Tegvir is an undervalued member of teams that he tends to be on, especially the versatility, which I talk about all the time. But I feel like being able to play Sasano here and do that well was really telling. It's not a bad character. We know that it's in a decent spot right now, but I don't think it's at the top of anybody's tier list at the moment, which just speaks to the level of play we saw. I mean, if you can have Paul playing Merlin in your game, and you can have a duo lane that is behind and playing Eset and Ymir and still stand out the way Tegvir did, you're doing something right.
Absolutely. Standing up tall here in the grand finals, clocked in, go up against Prod's College Fund Crusaders once more. Third place match is going to be the Bad Boys, stepping up to We Know You're Cheating. So the Sea Host and the rest of their merry crew will be moving in just a moment. But that is all yet to be seen. Our eyes are on Grands.
Yes, and our grand finals here on Smite Prime include a unique aspect. If this is your first time tuning in to a Smite Prime Grand Finals, you're in for a treat. We use vault bans. In a best of 3 set, once a god's played, that means that god, you take that character, you lock it away in a vault. It can no longer be picked by either team for the remainder of the set. So here's the example. A team plays Thor in game number 1. Thor's done. Neither team can play Thor. Not in game 2, not in game 3. Now, last week, these two teams met up in the grand finals. This is a rematch. And in game number 1, we saw the drafting style completely go around and seemingly play by the rule of thumb of vault bans. We saw characters getting picked in game 1 you just simply wouldn't expect because they were trying to save characters. It seemed to also kind of mess with their mindset for the bans. So really important to watch as we go through stuff, how these teams draft in the first game with game 2 on their mind. You don't want to save stuff for game 3, but game 2 needs to be considered when drafting for game number 1.
It's a scary thing considering the fact that it's not like Fearless where if I pick up that Thor, I can play it next game on the enemy side. No, it's done. It's completely off the field, so you are eliminating that tool for not only your side of the field, but also the opponent's pitch. That makes things it asks you some difficult questions. Do I play this god well enough that it's worth me denying it for the rest of this series to the enemy? There are certainly some picks where it's worth considering. I'm curious if we end up ever seeing the Osiris because of that. If we ever see that E-set, they could remain. But it seems like people are okay letting them slide if it means you get a big
Paul got Aladdin
tool
game
in your
1
pocket.
last week because of it.
Exactly. So there is, it seems, maybe something in the water here. Some tomfoolery in the sewer streets that's allowing these crazy picks to slide
Sewer
through.
mention.
Because at the end of the day, you got to play exactly. You got to play the long game here. If you are on the side of Sunprod, you got a bit of a chip on your shoulder, right? It's again the streaky play. You really got to hope that we have the hot hand here and that Bayro is still feeling nice and warmed up from that killing spree they went on earlier.
Now, one thing that was notable last week to me was we saw Sunprod bring out the Thanatos, and it happened in game 2. I feel like your god pool matters so much, but that's one of the things that makes Clocked In so strong. Everyone on Clocked In's got a god ocean. You know, on the side of the Crusaders, they have good god pools. They're deeper than I think people give them credit for. Sunprod is a good example, but even Baronary, I think you could look at as somebody whose god pool goes deeper than you expect. But it's just Clocked In is actually a god ocean. You know, it's to the depths of the ocean we haven't explored yet because the pressure is too high. That's just how deep the god pool goes for Clocked In. I feel like they could kind of display whatever.
Yeah, they go into the deep end of the pool every day. No floaties, no life vests.
I do not. I'm far too short for that. I would drown so quickly.
But Clocked In, on the other hand, they can go as deep as
I step into
want,
the 5-foot side, you start to lose me, and I'm on my tiptoes trying to...
Lifeguard instantly is like, do I need to do something about that? But
yeah.
These guys are Clocked In. They're breaking all the pool rules. They're running on the pool floor. Lifeguard doesn't even dare to approach them because Paul's going to instantly slit their throat. So you got to be careful. I'm curious if they try to do the same strategy. You could try to bait Paul onto that Aladdin pick and then go for the Awelix comp like we saw before. I don't know, though, because Awelix wasn't the reason why that comp was operating so well. That's true as well. So we're putting a different place, but at the same time, putting the Aladdin in the mid lane does give you more interactions naturally with a jungle Awelix. So there's some give and take there. The issue is what you're giving is kind of the opportunity to abuse an Awelix. We saw that before. Sunprod wasn't having the easiest of times, and the pop-off really came over from that Neath instead, as well as the solo lane, Crow. We haven't seen a Cabrakan at all today. I wonder if there was a
Cabrakan from, I want to say it was Crow, actually, last week.
And I could see that being played again. If you see the Osiris get banned, I think Crow or it could be Karmic as well, could decide to go for that instead. Or sorry, not
And
Karmic,
let's not
but
forget characters
he
that
could.
Karmic has that are a bit off kilter. I mean, I know Hades isn't strong right now, but Karmic
Mhm.
has characters like that Karmic can bring out at all times. Even the chalk for Karmic is something that is so
Yes.
strong. Karmic likes to play characters like that. In olden days, we'd see a Hades with a Helm of Darkness play from Karmic be a borderline guarantee. So there's some uniqueness there for Karmic to be able to utilize too.
Absolutely. Both these teams, listen, they're both going to closed brackets, so we can both feel good
Yeah.
knowing that in that sense the stakes are reduced, but this is a microcosm. It's a game within a game. It's Sun Prod's College Fund trying to find the way to victory so they can apply it next time around in closed bracket. Opening up, though, the P's and B's, we'll see what they get going.
Where do you go first? Right, that does become the biggest question. We again, picks matter for the vault ban system, but it is important to note at home, bans do not matter. You could ban the same god in all 3 games, and that's okay. That's acceptable. The picks are what locks it away in the vault. First ban will be Bots, answered by the Emoja. Now we start to get nervous. We still see no Osiris. There's no Aladdin, ESET, worthy of conversation. We just saw it played ADC. There's a lot of different paths we can go already starting here, but the Agni still gets the attention, really.
Yeah, that Agni is rather scary in both that carry role, but lately been in the mid quite a bit as well. Osiris is going to finally get that ban, so that's good to see. Kate, Benny Q's not here, but I guess we don't want to see it go to Kaidon either, who was playing it rather well before, so I can't blame them for it. Are we trying to bait them in with the potential Aladdin pick? I think so. Merlin gets the ban instead. Will you take the bait?
No, instead they grab the ESET away. Given what we've seen today, we know that ESET could be a flex pick because Hydrogen can play at ADC, but Happen could very well play at support as ESET is so strong in support. But for both teams, I'm sure they're kind of happy to see ESET go in game number 1.
But, okay, so here's the thing. Now the question is on the Crusaders. Are you going to still give over the Aladdin after 1 rotation of gods? Because that's
when it gets grabbed.
That feels terrible. Yorm and Baron being locked in here. I think Aladdin goes. I think they take the Aladdin, and now we're starting to see trouble. But the Yorming Gunders here, knock up. Aladdin potentially being locked in, knocks himself up. Maybe this really is the Awilix bait strategy again.
Counter to your accurate point. What if Clocked In's baiting the Awilix pick? What if Clocked In Kana is down?
That's what I think that's the issue. Because I really don't think the Awilix is like the gotcha moment that they think it is. It's still not very effective just as a god with the numbers game. At the end of the day, you can have the coolest kit in the world that really on paper counters, but if you're not dealing the damage necessary to kill them once you counter them, what's even the point?
Aladdin get locked in, so we get to see Aladdin from Paul in game 1 of the finals. And Hou-Yi,
you're happy now.
D'Lo, last week, I'm very happy. Last week, we saw Hou-Yi jungle in game number 1. So,
wow.
Or maybe it was game 2, but we get a repeat of Hou-Yi jungle potentially. Now, it could go to Hydrogen. Obviously, that would make sense, but again, ESET is a flex now. Now you have 2 flex, technically 3 flex picks if you're clocked in for your first 3 locked in. You can flex the Aladdin, you can flex the Hou-Yi as we've seen them do, and ESET is now a flex because of Hydrogen playing at ADC. The answer from Prod's College Fund is Neath and Cupid.
Okay, Neath, that's got to go to Baron area, right? I'm not impressed. There's no way we're giving the Neath to anyone else but Bayro. Because, though, I feel like there's already an ADC locked in. I don't see how he top locked
Sylvanas!
Wow! He's arrived. New is better, huh? We're just getting everything. Top rostered, all these new gods that have been recently added. I mean, Osiris is on the screen at the very least. He sadly can't join the game for right now. But this, Anthony, might be a bit more what you're mentioning, the fact that because it's these vault bans, try something silly. We already have so many top picks in the other roles that maybe we want to save some top picks in the support role for these later games. So Sylvanas locked in. Shock as well. You mentioned that. And the Awilix. Is it bait or baited? We'll find out.
There's a lot of ways this could go down. I'm much more interested in Clocked In's composition. ESET could be ADC, could be support. Aladdin could be mid, could be solo. Hou-Yi. confident in jungle. Sylvanas is where I'm confused because there's a chance we could see ESET support Sylvanas ADC here. That is very, very possible. In the game! No, not in the game. Excuse me. I thought we were going in the game. So excited for the
We got
Sylvanas
baited.
potential. Please put that in ADC. I'm so hoping that happens. We'll be in game soon.
You too can be an
Me breathe.
ADC and just
Me
two
breathe.
easy
Me
steps.
breathe. Okay. The chalk for Karmic is basically the only lock, really, in my brain. But I guess even then, there is a world where it could flex still. But clocked in, what a draft. Now, on the other side, right? On the other side of things, they got the Wheelish. Do you think that that's the answer? You seem doubtful through the drafting phase. Ho Yi is a really good matchup for a Wheelish, even compared to the Anher, I would say.
Correct.
So I'm interested in your thoughts.
My thoughts are this. You have, again, very few forms of knockup aside from the enemy and yourself. You do have the Yorm, but we've seen what happens when a Yorm frontline is not playing with enough care and caution. You have to use those submerges very tactfully because that's your initiation for the Wheelix. It's also your way to potentially get out. And if you just walk up to them, big old lumbering snake that you are, they're going to cut you into pieces. You got to make sure you're playing
snake for dinner
carefully.
type beat.
And also leverage it. Yes, snake stakes. Leverage that pressure in the lane. Please, we need to see some kills. So maybe that requires Sunprod a bit of divine intervention over on that side. But I don't know, man. I'm scared. Anthony, what a plot twist. They're all ADCs. Sylvanas, ESET, like everyone's an ADC.
It's the Gatling gun squad. That's the path they're taking. And hey, that's something
Bingo.
that could, in theory, work, right? I mean, we've seen weirder things. Clocked in certainly at the
Shock
top of the
ADC.
mountain looking down. They also have some room to play with because, as you mentioned in the beginning, while of course you want to end it first, in the standings there's a significant point lead for Clocked in. So there's a world they could just kind of, I don't want to say troll because it's not. They're still going to play well, but they could have some fun with their picks, their selections, and even builds. So there is a lot of different ways this could go down. And maybe the Crusaders can benefit off that, play as normal as you can. Don't let them get in your heads. Don't try to adapt overall, or not try to adapt, but don't try to forcefully adapt. Just naturally play the game and see how things go. Maybe that could work for the Crusaders. Now, we're killing some time. We should be back in here soon, getting game going to get our best of 3 grand finals started. Again, week number 3 of the Open circuit for the November circuit of Smite Prime. Next week, grand finals. Do not miss it. The final day, closed bracket, all the money, all the diamonds on the line. You want to make sure you are there.
I want to kind of zoom out from the picks and look more at the teams as a whole. One aspect of this entire circuit has been
I thought that was funny.
Roster switch up, right? The roster apocalypse. I'm sorry, I didn't know what you did. Oh,
I zoomed
Anthony,
out.
game.
But now let's zoom in. Let's go zoom in. We got game. The game is here. Onto the battleground. Start our grand finals up, and let's see who goes where. I'm disappointed. It is a Sylvanas support. ESET ADC. Ho Yi jungle. Paul Rocky Ladman mid. On the other side, though, Baronary not playing the Neath that we saw go nuts earlier. Kaidon playing Neath in the mid lane. Cupid ADC to Baronary.
It's like the Victorian child meme where, like, what if you put a Victorian child in, like, modern society? What if you put a Smite 1 player into this casting booth and we're like, I'm really disappointed. It's not Sylvanas ADC, it's ESET ADC. Like, they probably have a heart attack. Might be the same thing here for our friend Kaidon as they're starting to get slashed to pieces here by Paul on this Aladdin. I don't know how I feel about Baronary on a Cupid. I don't know. Obviously, I like the Neath having that rotation ability there with that ultimate. It comes a bit quicker on faster delivery there, thanks to being in the mid. But does Cupid have the same hyper care potential? I'm not quite as convinced, but it does seem like the rage from Baronary of me criticizing their god pick is going to actually crash everything. Hopefully we get that back soon. There we go. We're back, baby. And also, Tree is stepping up.
Stepping up indeed, and being followed. As soon as we get through that gray paint, we'll have a better idea of what's going on. Ho Yi jungle, I am excited to see from Techveer. That worked pretty well last week, in particular. We'll hopefully have this game back up and running for you guys soon. Again, thanks for all the patience today. A lot of internet issues, unfortunately, throughout the day for players and us alike. So just a tough one out here. Now, I do.
All human.
I do have one. Paul is playing really aggressive in the mid lane. If you're wondering why, I've
Yes.
seen Paul multiple times now get first blood, play aggressive, and utilize that gold wish, the wealth wish, to get extra first blood gold. And that kind of is how he
Yep.
likes to start his Aladdin off in an ideal world. So we could see more of that. We could see some attention mid. We could see Paul step up, play overly aggressive, try to get that first blood and get that extra gold online. I mean, one time he did it, and it set up his GPM to be like 1,000 per minute, and it fell to
Yes.
600 per minute by 10 minutes in the game, which was ridiculous to see GPM wise. So that's one interesting path we could see taken this game.
I mean, oftentimes you'll see an Aladdin be willing to use their power wish to ensure their wealth wish actually finds the mark, and it's a worthwhile investment because, especially if it's on a first blood, holy crap, what a big dividend, what a big cash flow you get in your pocket. Might as well start a trust fund up as well. But really, some product could use that
True.
instead, so they can go off to college. But instead, they packed up in a coffin, a far less fortunate destination. I want to talk though about what I was talking about before, which is clocked in
please
the
go to a new
roster apocalypse. My bad. Clocked in the roster apocalypse. This is a team that has stayed so tried and true across so many different circuits of Smite Prime. And I think that might be a reason why we see such a big gap forged between this team and everyone else. Loyalty. Sometimes the bonds of brotherhood that just can't be broken on the battlefield is what surpasses everything else.
Some dancing around the firebrands. Tegveer not level 5, but still willing to fight Crow level 5 and stepping up to back up their jungler. Tegveer, time to go. Has Chalk there for backup. The dash through, the chase is on. Can Sunprod find it? Out of Big Snake. That's
Nice.
first blood. Going to Prod's College Fund and Sunprod himself. Now a knock-up on Karmic 2. This could be a twofer. One for each. One for Crow at the end of it. Great fight there from the Crusaders.
Didn't even need that ultimate, but now you have it in pocket. Well done by Sunprod to know they could still commit to the kill with that leap, even if they don't have that gravity surge to bring back Tegveer to Earth. That feels great, especially considering the hot streak that Tegveer was on just so shortly ago in the semifinals. Putting a bit of a stutter in their step is going to really do wonders for your team. But can they continue it? It's actually exactly what we asked for, Anthony. Leverage pressure across the solo lane quickly. Make sure to utilize a Jormungandr's advantage. They're a bully. Let them be that big blustering rogue that kind of braggishly just swaggers across the battlefield. Put the shock down.
Especially being Karmic's shock in particular. That's the scariest aspect of having it without him having the aspect on. Of course, Karmic is just so good at knowing when to rotate, knowing kind of when to give up a lane, and knowing when to put the pressure on in solo. And I remember so many times where we'd see Karmic play things like the Hades, where we were hoping to see Karmic play Chalk. So this is a great situation for Clocked In to be in. Now also Jungle, as we see the fight break out in mid, a pull in onto Paul from Sunprod to answer back from the wall. Run into the lamp we go. The 1v1.
Oh!
Paul's quick and the resets. The up down. It's denied by Prod, but he can't find the kill. What an attempt to get the jump to immune the up down from Paul. As sick as it can be, but it still turns into a kill for the Aladdin.
And the moment, whoa, what's going on? Oh dear God, we just actually got sent forward through space and time. Someone hit me the Giannis ult. I have no idea what's happening. I need to take a break. I'm gonna sit. I need to sit down. What the hell? What did you do?
Oh, I got hit
What
by a
did
Giannis
you
portal.
do?
I got hit by a Giannis portal.
Jesus, Kronos
So-
is in the game now. Apparently, that was crazy.
Yeah.
Hey guys,
Oh, it'd be
good to
sick.
see y'all again. It's like I have long hair again. Ah!
You have long hair. I'm 15 pounds heavier than Vegas. So-
What is Musey? Who's Musey? No idea.
yeah, who is that
What's going
guy?
on here?
We don't even know him. No.
Never heard of him.
No.
Oh man.
Well, We're gonna get that figured out again.
Well.
You hear me say that a couple times throughout our day.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for
Shot.
hanging with us and being patient through it. Bingo card has technical issues checked already, and that's a-okay. That happens sometimes. Of course, blame Jithens, and also wish him happy birthday, too. Don't forget to do that. Happy birthday, Jithens.
Mhm.
Fun to have it so close to the holiday season. Very admirable.
At the same time, I don't know, man. Like you don't get as many gifts, right? Or, like I'd imagine, like the kid. It's the classic joke though, but it's true. Like on Christmas or Hanukkah, are you gonna get as many gifts if your birthday falls on the same day? Like no, they're gonna say, oh, it's an extra big gift we got you. but you know it's the same price. You know it's not actually any bigger. You know you just got
Yep.
schemed in the big old lottery of life. To my December birthday kiddos, condolences. It's rough out there for y'all.
Yeah, it's just I feel like it's one of those tough. What's the best example I can think of? Well, I thankfully I've had like one or two friends who have birthdays on those holidays. That really tends to suck, but those are the ones you got to avoid. But we are heading back in the game. Let's hope it sticks
Phew.
this time. 7 minutes in, 1-3. A bit of a decent
Ooh,
kill and gold lead for the side of Prod's College Fund, but clocked in. They've looked good throughout this game. Things are certainly not over yet. Gold Fury considered. It's a step away. We're back in. We're settled. We're good.
Smite 2 bad boys making an appearance from the dead. It seems they were rezzed. No. Everyone, keep in mind, that is indeed the Prod College Fund Crusaders, and they're making a crusade over to the mid lane. Great pull.
Great pull indeed, but can you find a kill from it? You can see the hunt on. You have the mark, but no stun, it seems. So instead of being what we thought would be a kill, hang on. Solo Link, Karmic, not safe, is juking out the big snake in the sky. That land's not good either, so just to lane farm.
Okay. Well, without Prod's intervention and Karmic not having aspect, it will be rather difficult to find that kill. Pillow fight going to go the way of clocked in. And this is what's going to happen, right? Paul is going to Paul it up. Level ahead, bloodless, don't even need it. Hydrogen, though, might be blooding up the duo.
Oh, so stuck now, crippled too, with a bring back, but Hydrogen still slinging autos through it and takes down Bear and Neri, but Hydrogen will get caught out by Sun Prod and handled with the Feather Step.
Okay, so at the very least you get the counter kill. That is the nice factor of this Awilix. There's a lot of good rotation ability. These are two just very mobile gods being put on both sides of the field here. And the Aladdin's actually, speaking of, making the traipse over to that solo side.
Will it be a pick is the big question. Paul tends to look for those early kills. As we've seen, the pressure on Crow. No ultimate up for the Snake. That means he's good as... Oh, Shell to slow it down.
Shell?
Dead? 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 He's good as dead. He's good as dead!
Dead. Nice job.
Good as dead in left lane,
as well
too.
going to join the club. Yeah, happy takes them down. It could be a fight around the Gold Fury.
They get it. 3-man knock-up, pull back, maybe? Something? Anything help happen? Nope. Just a 3-man knock-up for no gain. Stays 4-4.
Wait, might change up just a second. Paul does manage to snipe out Baron area as well. Phantom Shell is popped, but really going to be the one who's turned into a Ghost Kite on as Happen finishes him off. I don't know, man. Sylvanas really might be the ADC after all. Gold Fury's up next.
Double kill for Paul. Gold Fury for free. 7-4. This is exactly what we were talking about for Clocked In. Just being, clocked in. They take the lead.
Yeah.
They stand strong. It's on the right-hand side of the map, not Smite 2 bad boys. That is Sunprod's College Fund Crusaders, and they are already having to play catch-up.
That feels rough. You do have this solo lane pressure, but what is it gonna... that's again the question. Like, what does that turn into? Shock, just based on their ult alone, is so much more impactful in a 5v5, and that's just the question I keep asking. Like, what does this Yorm get you? For being a top 2 pick, I just don't see it being worth that much. But we'll find out. It is making a rotation to try to take on the Shock once again.
I find it, and down goes the Shock. I find it so weird you give back-to-back weeks, let alone you allow Paul to play Aladdin in game number 1. I feel like it has something to do with the vault bans. Maybe the Crusaders are putting too much attention on kind of, I don't know the right way of wording it, but just trusting the vault bans to get them through game 2 and saying, okay, we can try to handle and deal with the Aladdin in game 1. That's why they grabbed the Awilish as a hard counter, but it's just not doing enough to stop it. And now it makes me feel like, well, was it worth risking game 1? Obviously, we're still in it. The lead isn't significant, but just a massive risk to take.
3-0 for Paul, and this is just a regular day in the life of this Aladdin main. They try to make a coercive effort to actually take down that E-set, but it was already in the bushes, already escaped, and you know what that opens up? An amazing pyro pull here for Clocked In.
Just completely free. Nobody on the side of Sunprod's College Fund could make the attempt to steal it away.
That's just unfortunate, man. You're getting kind of just outmaneuvered at every turn. And again, that's what this level of experience, of synergy buys you. Look at this wraparound 4v2. They just don't know it.
Tier 1's going to fall pretty easily. Tegveer buys the time, slams down, gets the damage back up in the back line. Kaidon will fall. Same thing for Killcam Kenny. And Tegveer lives. Shockingly so.
What?
The Tier 1 tower will fall. And Clocked In continue to grow their lead.
Tying the noose around the neck of both of those people in the mid lane from Prod's College Fund. Just disgusting work from Clocked In. 4-man deathball rotation 12 minutes in. You really can't ask for more than that. And at this point, the level lead has been cinched off in the solo. Sunprod, though, might be coming to put it right back in place.
You can see Karmic aware. Look, Paul's by the Firebrands, but isn't super healthy and does not have ultimate online to help Karmic out if things get too dodgy. But Paul's a good teammate. Paul says, maybe I'll help indeed. Karmic also baiting around that Fire Giant door. Now Sylvanas here too. Can he get the timing right? No, Karmic's already down. Now the fight as well breaks out with Paul going down, but he gets the kill through it from the grave. Paul's able to get that one, and Sunprod will go down. 2 for 1 so far. It favors the side of the Crusaders. Crow dives in aggressive, gets the damage top of the E set. Will she go down? Yes, Hydrogen gone. Tegveer still fighting though, has the mark on too, gets the damage, finds
what is
more.
happening?
Kion trades it back. It's a 4 for 3 so far. 2 of the Crusaders trying to bring down the last of Clocked In and Happen. They get the root, they get the damage. Can they get the kill? Body blocks from Kenny too, but my dude Happen's still rolling. Deicide's gone, but 5 still died. The Crusaders with a massive fight on the right side of the map.
What'd you call it once? Ozempic Samity? He tries to put up the body blocks. Doesn't quite work out on the big old tree, man, but they do still find the kill nonetheless. What a chaotic fight, man. Disgusting work from both sides of the field. I don't even know what to say about that. There was just way too much chaos, but at the end of the day, the reason why Clocked In are just going to get wiped up there is because there's global pressure there from Prod. You had that Neathult help out very early, wipes away Karmic, and now breathes new life into this Chaos side squad. They have a reason to look for this Fury next, and they also have the vision on it thanks to those Oracles.
They do indeed. Now, you talked about the need for Yorm to step up, and I gotta say, Crow's having a great game, and I feel like the game is being elevated too by the attention to solo, which is awesome. Now, my problem and my worry is gonna be focused on Tegveer, and I feel like I give Tegveer so much credit all the time. It makes it very fair for me to kind of bring attention to this. You can't fall behind as Hou-Yi in jungle, certainly not behind. Getting ahead matters the most, but I feel like so far we've seen Tegveer not be too involved in team fights. That's where the biggest change, I think, needs to start happening for this Hou-Yi.
You know what's also interesting that I'm noticing across the field here is the fact that this Baron Samity is a aspect of Samity. which is, well, is an Ozempic Samity, is also an aspect Samity. Both are important, both are relevant to gameplay. And Sunprod's got to make sure that they're staying relevant by staying alive. Concerted retreat there made. 3 members present from Clocked In to match the 4 there from Fun Crusaders. That ritual does come up in 80 seconds, not for a bit longer. Anywho, that does mean that you're not granting slow immunity and heals to the rest of the team. It's actually playing for a bit more selfishness despite being a support. And it's worked out well so far just because Baron doesn't need to provide all that extra utility to the team to be useful. It's that ultimate, gosh darn it, but you got to make sure you're staying alive to use it.
Like a good 90s song, we've turned off the lights. That means it's time to fight in the mid lane. The attention is on the Baron with the root and pull from Happen. Now another root. Lots of damage. Can you find the kill?
Goodbye.
One more pull locked it in. And Kenny is indeed dead. That is one pick to start it off early. Clocked In. They are a team that loves to get aggressive around objectives. They walk right to the Pyromancer and dare the Crusaders to step up. And D'Lo, their plan might be to try to contest.
I mean, you've got a circle of protection, though, from Hydra. There's no way you try. And indeed, Hydra doesn't even need the circle to grab that Pyro for the team. And that's going to result in a bit more damage on that tier 2 on the right. They're still pursuing. They're looking for the snake.
Yorm does not die, gets into the big snake mode first, but now goes back and aggressive with the damage going on to Clocked In. The pull back from Prod brings Hydrogen down, but Karmic's got an answer. It is an ADC for an ADC, but who's next on the chopping block? The attention splits. Clocked In go left and right, trying to bring somebody down, but into a corridor! You don't bring Ho Yi into a corridor! Kaidan goes down. Next up is Kenny. Karmic's on the hunt, gets the damage over the wall, able to take out Kenny as well. Sunprod back in, blinks forward, looks for the low member. That's Tegvir, brings him down. Sunprod still standing, still throwing, gets knocked up by the ultimate of Happen. Pulled back in and rooted, but now Crow joins the fight once again.
Ooh.
But Happen with the dot damage handles the jungler. Crow does bring Karmic down, and once again, these two teams meet in the jungle, and seemingly everybody dies.
Okay, Crow does manage to prevent it from being a delayed deicide, but it's equal levels of destructive nonetheless. What is with these two teams? It really does seem like Fraud's College Fund are just trying to find a way. It's just experimentation, trial and error. Process elimination, even if it means eliminating your own team members, but we're just kind of slamming our heads into each other and seeing what ends up working out, right? Quick little break there. There's another tech issue. We just can't handle all these particles being thrown around, but what happened there, in my opinion, is that Sunprod ults. Once Sunprod ults, are we afraid of Sunprod? Not nearly as much. It's really quite a lot of stake in making sure that gravity surge is on the right target. You get Hydrogen there, I think Tegvir might be the scarier one. I don't know, man. I still fear for what this Hoi is capable of. And also the fact that you just don't have it online means that everyone can start taking wind sprites. They can start using their leaps. Everyone just feels a lot more free, unrestricted. And that's what's scary about putting it all in, all your chips on top of that jungler.
Well, we have another pause slash slight delay. We get more technical issues worked out. But this grand final so far, this game one, I will say, Clocked In, while they still feel like they have a commanding presence, the team fights are completely different than what we saw last week. It's night and day. Get it? Moonlight cycle. It's a night and day difference from last week for the Crusaders. They look so much better and more confident in these team fights. And one thing with Sunprod, I noticed the blink through everybody to take the kind of 1v3 dive to try to get the kill on Tegvir. That's a sign that Sunprod's feeling confident. And Sunprod as a player, and sometimes I feel like this happens with players who are sort of still becoming who they are as a pro player, you can see when they're confident versus when they're playing a little bit shy. Sunprod is a great example of that as we go back in game and things break out on the right-hand side, but Clocked In's got the better of it this time. Baron Ares dead. That's 3 dead, matter of fact, for the Crusaders. So we get back in just in time to see Clocked In take a commanding lead right on back.
Are you confident now, Sunprod? They say as they chase him all the way back to the soul lane. Sunprod's sticking around, though, and Neath is on the map, but will they be present for the FG steal?
It's going to be close if Prod... No, they've spotted Prod! Look at the collapse onto Sunprod!
Run, Prod!
Prodigy, no more. Handled, killing spree added to that. Fire Giant should be good as free now. You can see the Neath stepping away. And Clocked In with Fire is a team that knows how to end the game, so it's time for the Crusaders to batten down the hatches. The onslaught is about to be heading their way.
Anthony, it's about 20 minutes. I can talk about it. Barrow on this Cupid, man. You asked me what I thought. I was not impressed, and I sadly have been proven correct in that assessment. When have these Fields of Love really been impactful, Anthony? There just seems to be so many ways to get out of it. We have a Stampede and a Talisman from the Sylve. And yeah, in theory, that cripple's really nice, but everyone who needs to have beads is bearing beads. They're not really being forced to burn them early. There's beads burn potential, but it doesn't feel like there's any fire that's actually keeping us warm. Prod's College Fund are going cold, and Clocked In are heating up. They've got the FG buff, so quite literally as well, but the issue is there's just no threat from this Cupid like there was from the Neath. And Kaidan, speaking of, is playing it rather well. But the fact that your ADC, who was the prime reason you were dominating prior, is now asleep at the wheel, it's a rough look for Prod.
What more can be said? You've completely nailed it on, I feel like, what is the most prevalent issue, at least in terms of the damage output. It also keeps Kaidan off a traditional mid, which seems to be hurting as well, even compared to Paul, who, while not on a traditional mid, is still outputting mid lane damage. 21.5 minutes is about to cross our way. It's 21-13 favoring Clocked In. They have a strong gold lead that grows by the moment. That was the second Gold Fury of this game. It goes to Clocked In, which means we're still not quite at Primal Fury time. Fire Giants around the bell to Clocked In for another 134 seconds, by the way. So this siege hasn't begun, but it's certainly far from over.
And you don't have Crow yet with you. Crow is going to make that back, just as I say, to ensure that their presence is felt during the potential Phoenix Siege. They're at the top of the player damage charts for good reason. Crow, like you said, having a great game, but look at where the rest of the team is. All slotted below the 4 members and Clocked In. 5 members strong, sorry, 4, Shock on the way. Looking to siege down this left side bird, but when does the ripcord get pulled? It might be from a ricochet, which barely misses.
Counter ult coming out for the Crusaders. Maybe they want to take the fight to the side of Clocked In first, but the answer back from Clocked In is real good. Lots of damage on. A pull back in from Sunprod. Can it find the kill and happen? Yes, it does. No more Sylvanas, and the Crusaders lock things up, at least for now, on the left-hand side. Still 4 members strong. Dagger still available for Hydrogen. It is in play. Without the support, though, do you still have a go button? Maybe you do! My goodness, look at that go button! But the answer is still good from the Crusaders. They still stand 5 tall. Phoenix down to half. Spirit Ball will... No! A lamp connected instead! A ball gets Sunprod from the backline with the lamp of the century cutting the uprights. Crow will fall too! And just like that, Clocked In might have called game! Falling Paul's disgusting lamp throw!
Baronary, one lone baby there to stand against them, but man, I do not know if Clocked In have any word other than victory in their vocab. Baronary goes down for the deicide. Paul stomps him in. Man, that is going to be all she wrote for game 1.
I can't... I cannot... That was... I don't know what to say. What I saw was Sunprod go to walk away. I couldn't tell if it was a silence that stopped Sunprod from using Suku to jump over the wall, or if the lamp caught Sunprod before he got the jump off. Paul took him into the lamp, killed him, and then everybody else just started falling. That is a replay I am so excited to see when we do come back in a bit. But I don't know what else to say.
And when we see...
Yeah, I was going to say, that's just too much. Let's just take a quick break. When we come back, we'll try to figure out what happened at the end there. Don't go anywhere. More grand finals when we return. Babe, wake up! Clocked In's 1 game away from winning the finals again. Week 3 of the November circuit of Smite Prime. 1 more week to go. Next week is the closed circuit where you take home all the money, $7,000, all the diamonds, $125,000. And our last one of the year for Smite Prime. But before that, we have 1 more game, potentially 2 more games, if we can see the Crusaders lock it in against Clocked In before our day ends. So let's bring in D'Lo. I'm Malum, and let's potentially see the conclusion or see the survival of the Crusaders.
Man, like, you really just want to see it happen. Clocked In, because here's the thing, Clocked In are, like, not made of personalities who, like, are super arrogant. Like, I don't think of Paul as anything more than just, like, the humble dude who just,
look out for the ending, too. Don't forget, we want to see that replay.
Yes, watch out for the lamp. But they kind of are. They are the lords of the swing set. They are the terrors, the tyrants of the jungle gym. You do not go on the monkey bars without Paul's permission. It's just scary to watch. And there were moments from Prod's College Fun Crusaders where it looked like they could do well. But here, like in this jungle fight even, where everyone's all packed in, it feels like all the advantages for Clocked In. That Field of Love from Baronary shrugged off instantly. Just doesn't get much done on this Cupid, sadly. And now the Neath's not even an option for the rest of the set.
I'm still watching for that end play, like a hawk, dude. I can't. Here we go. Watch Sunprod here. Keep your eyes on. See that? Did you see that freaking lamp, dude? Crazy.
Winked out of existence.
And then Paul wall runs, jumps into the back line. And then he gets with the 1, dashes forward, then uses the genie buff on his 2 to get the 3rd kill. That was absolutely disgusting.
Goes on to kill Baronary as well, so just really leaves no survivors to tell the tale. 9-1 on this Aladdin. And we talked about this in the green room. We talked about it at the before P's and B's even started, Anthony. It's the idea that Sunprod and the rest of the Crusader squad thought they were baiting Paul, but really, I think Clocked In were baiting them to try to bait them with the Aladdin. They say, all
Yeah,
right, take the Awelish.
Clocked
We
In knew
really
how they
don't
could
have that
get
much
the
of a field.
Aladdin by opening the door for the Awelish, and in turn, they were just simply unafraid of the Awelish.
And Tess made this point actually in the green room as well. The fact that I think that maybe Prod's Crusaders were expecting the first pick to be the Aladdin. But if they know that Sun Prod doesn't play Aladdin, because again, a lot of these players don't play Aladdin because of its comp ban percentage, why would they first pick Aladdin knowing that it's not going to be contested? So they take the E set, and now all of a sudden, Prod and the rest of the squad are like, well, shoot, like, what do we do? They're just standing there with their thumbs in their pockets, feeling a bit silly, because do we pick the Aladdin when we're not confident on it? The answer is no. They made the correct call, but the real correct call would have just been to ban it in the first place.
Well, now that brings us to game two. And if you're just joining, or if you missed the explanation during game number one, we utilize vault bans here on Smite Prime in Grand Finals. That means when a character is selected, it's locked away in a vault and it's done. That means 10 gods are off the playing field from that previous game. Now, last week, these two teams met in the Grand Finals. This is a rematch. And last week, when that happened in game number two, Paul brought out the Zeus, which was certainly unexpected in that moment and still looked like a top tier contender. As a matter of fact, made the biggest
Yep.
difference in that game. Now, this is the scariest part in my brain for the Crusaders. As we get in picks and bans, what do you prioritize, but what are you trying to keep in your mind? You have the first pick advantage in this scenario. Bans don't carry over, so any god that was banned in game one, you can still select should it make it through bans. But what do you ban? We've talked about the God Ocean of Clocked In, whereas for the Crusaders, D'Lo, I'm already thinking of Baron Airy. What ADC are you going to next? Kaidan, are you looking at one of your deeper mid lane picks? Are we going to see Sunprod go to something like the Thanatos? What do you do from here?
Honors available. Humbats is getting banned. There's no way we let that through. That just doesn't make sense. We're going to ban that. We're going to ban the Osiris. At the very least, the top ban chart becomes a lot easier to do. Like, Jormungandr's off the mark. We have to worry about that. Bologna might even catch a Shrey as well if you're trying to look for those solo laners. Shock's no longer present. Yeah, I'm seeing Onher and Ullr in my future as far as the top ADC potential picks.
Sure.
Paul plays Ullr beautifully in the mid lane. Honestly, that could also be a really solid pick from Clocked In. Maybe something to ban from Prod's College Fund if you have the space. There's Jingwei. There's definitely some things available. And in fact, that's now I'm thinking of like Hydrogen. Put him back on the Jing. That might be top ban material too. There's still plenty of threats. Like there's still a lot of threats, but like you mentioned as well, it can get silly with these vault bans. We can start to see more experimental forms of plays, and Clocked In have already shown they're willing to get down and dirty with the soil master himself, that's Sylvanas. So I wouldn't be surprised to see some more picks come from left field, especially from that second pick side.
When we come back to this screen, you'll see the vault bans at the bottom if you do need to check back in. But for the time being, we're still going to hang out as we wait for picks and bans to get fully underway. It looks like you might have another lobby reset to make sure we have everything good to go as we await game number 2 of today's Grand Finals. In that short term, I'll remind you of the stuff going on. First, in twitch.tv/Smite Prime, make sure you do exclamation point giveaway and do the same thing in twitch.tv/Smite Game, exclamation point giveaway to enter the Dark Lord Sung Wukong giveaway. As we join back in, we've got bans on the table. Hercules was included. A bit of a surprise there. Merlin, Hoonbots, definitely not so. The Agni continues. One more ban before we get into our first pick, D'Lo.
Guys, Osiris is still there. Guys, hey, Clocked In. I want to take care of that. You missed a spot. You missed something right there. Might want to brush.
Pro
that
did
off.
look pretty amazing earlier on the Osiris.
Yeah, like what are we testing our luck here? Cabrakan's still available when that gets banned. Hopefully, when that gets banned. So maybe you can just pick that up instead. Bologna's still on the charts. The Hercules ban is surprising to me. I mean, anti-heal's still not prevalent.
Odin.
Speaking of, anti-heal no longer even available. You don't have the Odin. Osiris.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Nothing else said.
Yeah, I mean, the Odin is to take away comfort from Sunprod, so potentially baiting out the
Oh,
Thanatos pick, as we've touched on. Hekate, that's a character that's been banned quite a lot today as the day's gone on, and now it's in the hands of Paul, combined with the Jing Wei that you predicted, my friend, going to Hydrogen, who made his namesake on the character, including creating a build that was incredibly popular in Smite 1. The answer back is our dual lane on her Ymir, potentially getting locked in. That's what we played. I looked the right way. I looked the correct way
yeah.
this time.
Yeah.
That's big for me.
I'm glad to see
Should
we're
that
getting
get
some
locked in
representation
behind the
here, Anthony.
Osiris? It's holy dive, holy frontline, you know?
Yes! Between the Lord of the Afterlife, Ultimate from Osiris, which is disgusting, Ymir and Honors dive, and again, player geography is going to be really useful here as well. Jingwei does have a good matchup in Honor in terms of escaping that knockup, but you've left, again, you missed a spot. It's Tegvir's Achilles. I completely forgot about Tegvir's Achilles. What's the matter with me? Aphrodite as well is
Talking
interesting.
about God Oceans.
Countered hard, though, by Osiris. Worth noting that anti-heal, ripping their souls out from their body, denies them the ability to get that light or any healing. So Aphrodite could be in a bit of trouble, and indeed, Soul, your favorite pick on the field.
Yeah, not my favorite god, my favorite pick to look at. So
there it is.
yeah, if like, there might not be gloves that can keep me safe enough, but like, see if I care. See if it stops me. Mordred does get locked in around it to go to Karmic. Now, Mordred, if I'm not mistaken, is a pick that is associated with Crow in the past. I feel like I've heard Musi talk about that. I'm a little more interested in your thoughts on the Aphrodite, though, before we get into Mordred. I'm kind of a hater of Happin's Aphrodite. I like Happin
We've
a
talked
lot.
about that.
We've talked. I hate his Aphrodite and how he plays when he has it, but you just had an epiphany, so hit me with the epiphany.
Anthony, remember, we were together. It was us. Sunprod destroyed Happin's Aphrodite. If you recall properly, he was playing Susano. It was playing Susano, and he absolutely destroyed Happin before level 5, Anthony.
Yes.
Before level 5. Anthony, he has to watch out for level 5, Anthony.
Level 5. Level 5. As we get in game, watch out for level 5. On to the battleground we go. Game number 2 of the grand finals for week number 3 of the November circuit for Smite Prime. I'm Malum, and with D'Lo, Morty is our observer, with Tess pressing all the buttons. Of course, shout out to Jithens and Billy behind the scenes, making everything happen today. Thank you for hanging out with us throughout today as we come closer to the end of what's been an exciting day of Smite Prime. Now looking at the actual gods, the chess pieces in play. How are we feeling? What are we looking at?
I'm seeing Tegvir on another just hallmark pick of the player, and we know just how well they do once they're comfortable. That's rough. They have a blinking gauge. No similar such findings of the relics for our friends on Crusaders. They're a bit split down the middle between the CC immunity and the damage immunity, and that makes sense for an Osiris. The Aegis can work really well with Mummifying Wraps to find the stun while still not taking any damage and no fear. Might be something to fear from Paul.
Ooh. The Impale back to the Loki. Sunprod gets a damage on. That should be first blood on the Paul. It is. Sunprod gets to show off the fancy name with a fancy first blood for the side of the Crusaders.
And now the Aegis being burned off the Jingwei. Hold on a second. This is a whole new Crusader squad. Getting that kill on Paul means so much, but they're already recognizing a new weakness. Now that Aladdin's no longer here to play, it's that Hekate's got no mobility at all.
You talked about level 5 for Sunprod and paying attention to Happen. Level 5 for Paul is a requirement to survive. So I think the play for the Crusaders now, keep Paul down in the dirt. If you can put him behind before he gets to level 5 and gets an escape tool, it could be curtains, at least for a while. I mean, Paul's not a player you're going to put so far behind they can't come back. But again, look again! Almost got him again! Oh. Kaidon almost gets the solo onto Paul. This is exactly how you have to play it in the mid lane. Now, the problem is, D'Lo, and I'm sure you're going to touch on the same thing, that's just Paul. This is still clocked in. A lot of them are on some of their favorite picks to play.
Actually, speaking of this ADC in the mid lane, worth noting that it is indeed this on her in the mid lane. Not something we typically see. It's the Soul instead of the duo, and they might be finding some action here as they continue to get aggressive, forcing rotation from the Achilles.
One more auto should do it. Add asunder to it. Kenny is on the hunt, happens on the run. Gets this glacial strike to do it, but now look who's here. It's the Achilles to cut things off, and happens as what? You're not so tough now, Kenny. Get back here, Baronary. Baronary looks for Happen, though. He's stuck against the wall, and Happen's gonna fall down. Kenny, low. Tekvir on the hunt to dash forward from Hydrogen, cuts him off. Crossbow, bolt to the forehead will bring him down. Baronary takes the 1v2, gets the heal, gets the backup, gets one for Prod. Make it double.
Let's go,
for Sun Prodigy, and the Loki rotation gets the third kill into the Loki's pocket and gives the advantage further to the Crusaders.
Hey, Anthony, I'll give you a hint what level that Afro was when she died. Was not 5, let me tell you what. That is a Sun Prod special right there. Comes in, sweeps up the remains, call the janitor, call him Mortician. It could be trouble once again.
What's what's normal for the spider is a calamity for the fly type beat.
Ooh, that's a bar. I've never actually heard that before. I love that. No Arachne here yet, but once she is in the game, man, I will right now. But I also want to write down what we were talking about earlier, which is the fact that this on her is in the mid. So much aggression in the output, but we're seeing it here again on the left. These relics are being gobbled up like candy, and that just means there's more opportunities for Sun Prod. You need to slip in the dagger in those gaps in the armor, find who's weakest, find who doesn't have beads, and make them pay for it, but instead they're the one paying.
Just like that, no way Sun Prod can get away with this. There's the ult, but the double dash, that's going to be enough. Karmic able to bring him down.
Ah, unfortunate too. They had beads. Sun Prod had beads. Maybe you need to follow your own advice, buddy. Use the relic. Don't be so shy. Now Cyrus going instead.
Should be a kill here on Crow. Look how low that mana is. Just no escape. One more auto for Tekvir will do the trick. But what's amazing is that kill happened on Sun Prod, and I was looking over. Sun Prod's GPM has been incredibly high, but Mordred just caught up because of the kills that we've seen come across. That says a lot about the kind of game Karmic's having already on this Mordred, a character we haven't seen too recently or too often in Smite Prime.
Well, that was a shutdown too, man. Like that's just rough. Sun Prod, you gotta use the beads. He's got it, buddy. There's no reason to not try to preserve your own life. And they certainly would have lived. They had the ultimate in pocket as well. Barely got caught up to as well. And now the fact that you're giving this advantage over to the Mordred, I don't like that one bit. You put all your stake in this with Cyrus. It's your top pick. It's 0-1. 2 levels down. 2 levels down. 4 minutes in. That's a bad look. So we'll see if Sun Prod decides to visit again. I don't think that's going to be the case. Instead, they're going to do this. Leverage the pressure where you already have it in that duo.
We're good. Everybody good. We're good. Got scared there. I got jump scared. You got scared too.
Scared.
Sun Prod looking to scare Paul in the mid lane. You got the knockout from Disperse already, the damage on to Paul, but the gates is beautiful. That brings them back to Tekvir, and the backup has arrived. Paul trying to break some ankles and stay alive, followed by the ultimate of Sun Prod that brings him down. Kaidan will join the pile of bodies to make it a 1-for-1 as he's picked up by Tekvir. The blink away from Tekvir to reposition and stay safe. Turns out being a 1-for-1 in the mid lane, but boy, did it look like there was more that could have happened.
And just like that, the level lead, that chance for an advantage, even though Paul's died twice, whereas Kaidan only once, it just doesn't feel good. It feels like we're slipping back into your regularly scheduled clocked-in dominance. Something's got to give, and you can't give kills while you're trying to get them as well. Paul just manages to make that fight last so much longer than it needed to because of great open the gates play. Stalls with hitting them with the portals, then stalls even further by taking that portal themselves. Sun Prod was positioned correctly. They were in the right spot. They knew how to counter. It took too long. And that Aegis is going to make it take even longer. Clocked in are winning a battle of attrition. We just have to stay standing longer than you can. And the Aphrodite fits in very well with that same idea. Heals. Sustained heals. College Fund have got to end fights quickly, burst them apart before the rest of the reinforcements arrive.
Dilo locked the door. I'll turn the lights down low as Moonlight Phase ascends on the map. 5-4 currently for the Crusaders, but the gold lead favors Clocked In. We talked about this before we started game 1. Jingwei ultimate force for Hydrogen to stay alive after Kill Cam Kenny and Baronary kind of locked him against the wall. But we talked a lot about it. Clocked In just know how to farm. And Paul, we saw the attention put on Paul early. He's right up there in farm, completely unbothered against Kaidan. This is what makes Clocked In so good and so hard to beat, is even when you beat them, are you actually defeating them?
Yes, that's exactly the issue. It all feels like a bait on the other end. And now Sunprod trying to get some action going. Good Ymir freeze.
A lot of damage on Happen, who does get away thanks to the +1 for Aphrodite there. Pretty massive to even make that work the way it did. So Happen stays alive. Right side of the map, Crow, low, Karmic about to get a solo kill on the Osiris. He'll get it underneath the tower. Big pickup for the Mordred, continuing to get it, but now Sunprod's on the hunt. Gets the invis, has ult online, nowhere to go. Stun caught. Auto reset too for good measure. Down goes Karmic.
Not a shutdown, but still feels kind of like it. You get him off the board for 20 seconds for Crow to get some much-needed farm. Now 2.5 levels down. This is quickly becoming untenable. That Mordred's rotation is going to be felt so much harder. And Crow, their wings are clipped right now. It just does not feel like they're operating with any of the mojo that I expected them to be on this same pick. Now they're facing the real solo laners of Smite Prime. But hey, Crusaders trying to get some more funds in their pocket looking at that goal.
Down to half. There is a tension, though. Happen and Paul about to turn
Afro.
the corner. 1K on gold. It's going to be close. The damage, the birds are on it, but Kenny is able to get the gold Fury. For the Crusaders, that was a very close call. The birds were just about on it. But instead, first major objective of the game, being a gold Fury, goes to the blue side of things.
Few, and that's partially just because Baronary, they're even in levels, but they do have more pressure overall because this Ymir's been staying put where there's Jingweis all by themselves. They might pay for that fact right now. It's one more ult forced out. Tegvir's on the way.
Early ult, though, from Hydrogen that kind of sets up the safety. I almost wonder, and this sounds weird, had it been more risky for Hydrogen if Tegvir could have turned that fight more on its head. Sunprod considered going after Happen for a moment there. Ultimate is online for Happen, so he was safe, but you could see the consideration going through the young jungler's mind. Now a rotation from Karmic to the mid lane. As the Moonlight ends, the favor goes to Clocked In.
I don't know if I like Crow rotating as well. You're not going to have as much impact as the 2-level ahead Mordred. You could have used this time to farm instead, but they're going to try their damnedest.
Caught to the side, you can see the dash away from Karmic to stay alive. That's already a TKO on the map. Clocked in without their solo laner. Can the Crusaders now push this and make something happen? They've got Happen himself locked down, and good as dead, a killing spree for Sunprod. Ymir ult does some poke, and you can see the escape plan already being hatched by Tegvir to simply get away. Kaidan, though, a bit stuck with Paul. The Mez on the Impale. Puts Paul away and keeps Kaidan in safety. A strong fight for the Crusaders, but now they're playing a dangerous game. Still sitting in the mid lane. A rotation from Tegvir around the side as Crow steps up looking for Paul. He's going to pay for looking at the mid laner, and it goes down to Tegvir. Big time pickup for the jungler. The Prod answers back. Tegvir still fighting through it. Double kill for Tegvir despite Kaidan being able to bring him down. Now the attention goes on to kill cam Kenny, and you can hit that kill cam indeed. Last hit from Karmic is there. Double kill for Karmic, who came all the way back to the fight after he had retreated to base. 4 dead on the Crusaders.
Dude, that ritual, it is one of human sacrifice, but it also drops down all of College Fund so low, forces them to stay in the fight because they can't back while the ritual's being applied. It's about to do that damage, and then they just come in with the molly-whopping of a sentry, and College Fund, they just keep sending members in to their own demise. Now Baronary might try to cut off the Jingwei, but who's to say that's going to go any better for you? Hydrogen, a sneaky attempt to back. Ymir on the case, but can't quite find them. Jingwei gets out without a trace.
So at 11 minutes, give or take 15, we're even Stevens, shockingly enough. And I say shockingly, probably in the side of Clocked In, that they're able to keep up the way they are. If you've been watching week by week, I'm sure it's not too shocking, but I'm sure it's upsetting for the Crusaders. You got to get some kind of wrangle back on this game.
I mean, dude, Paul's 0-3 and still feels like it's just a normal day for Paul. Paul is unfazed, unflappable. Yeah. This player, you could like stab Paul in the stomach and he'd just be like, yeah, it's fine. Like in real life too. Don't try it, but like you could. Mordred is also in a similar spot of just like complete uncaringness, indifference. 2 members versus 1. Who wins?
Yeah, you got the rotation from Hydrogen. You got the damage.
Loki,
and
come
Crow
back!
will fall. One more auto, and Sunprod goes in after and pays the price for an attempt to make a playmaking call, and Hydrogen will get 2 to the tally.
When I said come back, oh dear God, maybe the soul was listening to me instead.
Stampede popped by Kenny, going aggressive, but hey, where's the homies? Kenny turns around, has to get away! The wall blocks out the execute from Tegvir, so Kenny almost brought everybody in, but is able to get them out, but Tegvir's still on the hunt. He knows he's tanky, gets the blink across, gets a stun forward, gets damage on, and gets Baronary down under the tower. Crow will make him pay, but not until you lose your ADC.
I'm shaking my head. I don't care that Tegvir died. Like at this point, it's just sauce. It's just all extra
that was
seasoning.
an aura play for sure,
and it worked because nowhere is safe for Prod's College Fun. But Jingwei could find themselves in a similar spot of bother. Nah, never mind.
Takes a Smite and will be A-okay. Weird positioning for the junglers. Look where Karmic is, back in the left side jungle near Sunprod. Might even be willing to take the fight, which is risky because of how close the rest of the Crusaders are, and Karmic realizes the same thing.
5-1 for this Mordred dude is really rough to deal with. Ymir can't wall him because that Pursue of the Weak just goes right on through it like the Kool-Aid man. There's really not much to do about it other than try to kill Paul. Let's see if they do it.
The gates under the tower, Paul gets away. The ultimate from Kaidan cannot chase fully. And Paul turns right back around and looks for fight. Now, we talked about that. As soon as the ultimate was online for Hekate, you could start surviving. Can you survive and left from the ultimate as kill cam? Kenny,
nope.
No, you cannot. And Kenny and Baronary both bite the dirt.
A Song of Ice and Fire gets quickly struck in the voice box because you're not going to hear it anytime soon. Both dead for 20 seconds. Gold Fury up and available. Clocked in. Should be able to make pretty easy work of that. You know, want to know why this is all going so well? It's partially just because we didn't really get to see what Sunprod employed against Happen last time you and I were casting these two players. They only got to abuse Happen one time. It starts to look like that could have led to more, but we never heard it because that one unfortunate solo gank that cost both Crow and Sunprod's lives. Ever since then, things have not felt the same. They started off with a ton of zeal, a lot of energy, but again, streaky players, sometimes luck's just not on your side, and it's going to come down to tact and mentals to stay firm in those situations. Unfortunately, though, one kill stacks up and the rest of the bodies just keep on falling.
And even if those work, right, you still have the problem child that is clocked in, starting to begin this effect that they have of when they get the ball rolling, it does not stop. It strikes all the way. They shut the bowling alley down. Tegvir going for the flank, the cutoff, clocked in with the go button.
God.
So much damage is on already before Kaidan can react. A rare miss from Tegvir on the ultimate, but Kenny will still die before anyone on the Crusaders can react. They lose their tier 1. They might lose their soul, and right instead, Crow gets a stun out. Can he survive? He ages, and the tower turns it around, and Crow will dumpster Karmic despite the issues in mid for the Crusaders.
All right, that's something. That's definitely something. It's a big kill to get. You want Karmic out probably more than anyone. It's a tale of two junglers, 7-3, both of them, but Sunprod's the one lagging behind. This team fight just doesn't feel nearly as solid. There's so many stages to it. Even when clocked in or pressured, these open the gates, open up so many possibilities of escape and damage. Baronary looking for the 1v1 might not be the one you want.
Oh boy,
Bye.
Hydrogen's hidden like a truck, but the answer is back. The police are here. Sunprod will combine with Killcam Kenny, an early ult out from Hydrogen to try to escape. Sunprod still holding on to his ultimate, so this is not going to be easy for the Jingwei.
No!
The juke! It worked! Hydrogen gets away!
God!
Both! Hydrogen, with the play of the day, stomps on the head of the Crusaders! Oh my God!
The police are on the way. Ymir said freeze, and Jingwei said, how about you? Instead, only one of us is making it out of this traffic stop alive. Oh, dear God in heaven. It's comfort, Anthony. It's chicken noodle soup. It's the pick that Hydrogen has played again and
Dude,
again.
if it's chicken noodle soup,
to
Hydrogen just
results.
waterboarded them with it, D'Lo.
Jesus Christ, dude.
Real.
Put that play in the can, put a Campbell's label on it. Me neither, man. That was disgusting. That was disgusting.
Fire Giant goes to clocked in to nobody's surprise, and they begin the siege.
What do we do here, guys? I don't know. Crow's jumping for joy, but they can't spread their wings and fly. They're sequestered beneath that Phoenix, now open for play. You have a chance. Your Siege team, as far as defensive end goes for College Fund, it's not terrible. This double ADC comp can deal out surprisingly good amounts of damage, but where is the freeze falling is, I guess, the question.
Yeah.
I need to take a closer look at Killcam Kenny and see where we're looking at with that stun, because that's really the big initiation. You don't have easy to apply hard CC outside of that, right? Crow, that stun takes forever. Sunprod's trying to boost up the speed, though, stabbing Tegmir in the back.
Oh, what a wall!
Beautiful.
Highlights where they belong, Crusaders. Kenny, what a play to bring down Tegmir.
Okay, could be a start now in the fight. And now could be trouble instead for the Afro.
Ooh, but good ultimate there to get away to keep the Aphrodite safe. Now damage back on Baronary. I feel a little nervous here for the Crusaders. Clock didn't look like they want to step up. They've got Hydrogen split pushing as well, so the Crusaders have to start to fall back, and you can see that by the movements. Sunprod back up, he goes left. Attention on to Karmic, trying to bring him down, but he's got the sustain to handle one. Baronary will go down, the ultimate right after the fact on the Crow. On the up down, he'll fall too. Now you've got Sunprod defending left, where Hydrogen's already started the play to bring things down. The whole
Round
team
two
will collapse onto the Jing. Here's the ultimate back to the homies, and the Crusaders will not chase this time. We said Clocked In were better at farming. I guess for Hydrogen, we should have just explained his aura. The Crusaders want nothing to do with him.
6-1, level 19, paired with the Mordred for the highest in the game, 4 levels ahead of Baronary, and this mid-Phoenix is only going to be a Midsummer Night's Dream to defend.
The jump away from Kaidan. Sunprod looking for some kind of opening. Clocked in at the mid Phoenix. It will fall. Hydrogen's already hit the left Phoenix, and they've got the push up. That left Phoenix should be good as dead once they get over.
Nice wall.
This is a dire situation for the Crusaders.
What?
The wall almost helped, but Paul remains better. Oh my God, he gets away, and Clocked In might be able to turn this game not just on its head, but end it outright. Prod gets away, if not barely, but Tegmir was right there. Everybody on Clocked In is putting together a
massacre
highlight reel, and Clocked In are about to end this game and continue to sweep the November circuit. They are simply better.
Can't say it any better myself. Clocked In just have such a massive divot between them and everyone else. There's Clocked In their own tier. S tier, SS tier, Clocked In. Everyone else is not even close to approaching them. They are literally playing a different game. Smite 1.5 or something, but oh my God, Clocked In are just untouchable in this game.
Cinema. What more can you say? They're just better. They're so good. A highlight reel from the whole team, and we'll see those highlights. We'll do more than that. We'll wrap up the day when we come back. Don't go anywhere. When we get back, we'll hit the end of our day. We'll be right back on Smite Prime. Welcome back to Smite Prime, everybody. Our day has concluded. Clocked In, still winning. Paul, still better. Hydrogen, a name you need to remember. I'm Malum. D'Lo is with me to bring us to the end of our day. Also, shout out, of course, to the whole team today. We've had Tess and Mort bring the in-game action and, of course, the production, and Jithens and Billy behind the scenes, making everything happen, getting stuff organized, doing the replays, and all the fun stuff that we've brought to you. It was a heck of a grand finals if you're a fan of Clocked In. While the College Fund looks strong at the beginning in game number 2. It's just some things you can't beat, and apparently one of them is Hydrogen on Jingwei, the other's Paul.
Starts off, and also I'm sure we're going to see more plays in the future from the... Yep, here it comes. Here it comes. Here comes the cavalry. Here comes...
Watch the dash.
One of
Watch
the
for the
best
dash.
plays I've seen from an ADC. Evades... Look
Right,
at this.
yep.
Evades the freeze and the ultimate. Any hope they had. Completely dashed by that dash. Disgusting work from Hydra. That very well might be the best play
Watch
we've
Paul
seen
live here
all
too,
day.
by the way. by the skin of his
Criminal.
teeth, and then to get the kill. And also, Paul's not playing the aspect. So he survived, walked away, turned around, and still hit the 2 like that.
There's just so much wrong with this world, and one of them is that Clocked In are just choking out anyone who steps up against them. It's really just, it's so much dominance. And you know what they always say, like, they hate you when you're down. They also hate you when you're up. They always hate the greats. And it's true because, like, you were hoping for College Fun to put up a bit of a better fight. You were hoping that they could at least get to Game 3, but you have to give your flowers to the big bads of Smite 2, and that is not the bad boys. It's Clocked In. This is who the bad boys wish they could be when they put on their leather jackets. Clocked In don't need to do that, man. They put on their pants one leg at a time, just like you and me. They put on a t-shirt. It's got a mustard stain on it, and it's got a blood stain on it, too, from Sun Prod and the rest of the squad, because they just got absolutely wiped, man.
And they take the t-shirts off like John Cena, right sleeve first overhead. It's simply nothing but aura for the side of Clocked In. Prod's College Fund, you still have to give credit. They have looked fantastic, especially compared to the rest of the field.
Yes.
It's just one of those things, and it's tough. It reminds me, it's my last cast for the year, essentially, for Smite, so it's only fair to bring up the old school one more time. It's kind of like in the olden days of NRG. We watched Epsilon win, we watched NRG win. People got bored, people started to hate them, but that's what makes them good. It's just one of those things. You have to get better to beat them. That is the design of the game.
Yeah, that's just how things all played out. Here we get to see the day's proceedings play out right in front of us from all the highlights and lowlights from other unfortunate teams that were crushed beneath the boots of the oppressive forces. Eldritch Hounds, unfortunately, were not quite able to put up the fight. A lot more bark than bite. Glurp, I do believe with that, did make it to the top 8 bracket. And next week, we get to find out who reigns supreme. It's like you said, Anthony, compared to the rest of the field, Sunprod's squad looking awfully nice, but the rest of the field is just playing a different game. There are elements of each team that make them great, but it just feels like every single element of Clocked In is snapped so perfectly into place. If you ignore
There's
Paul,
levels to
Hydrogen
this.
pops off. The moment that Hydrogen starts to get focused, Paul hits an amazing play as well. Survives when they have no business doing so. There's just so much working against an opponent of Clocked In. It really does evade any possible conception, the idea of them losing.
Underrated play from Crow today is this one on the Osiris. Crow had a great day on this Osiris. A lot of it is obviously due to Osiris, and also really important to note, and we'll talk more about next week towards the end of our recap here, but all those crazy changes coming through, a lot of them are going to be live for the final closed bracket next week. So if you're tired of seeing Clocked In win, if you're rooting for the underdogs, next weekend is your time because so many things are changing and all the teams have the same amount of time to learn and perfect the meta that will change as soon as Monday's patch comes live. I mean, the biggest thing is the agility relic will still be banned, which I know a lot of people will be happy about after seeing some discourse about that, but for everything else, it's just a night and day difference, including gods, even talking about Aladdin.
I mean, hey, if y'all want to stop seeing Clocked In win so bad, like, y'all pick up a controller, gosh darn it. Get yourself on the keys. Even if Smite Prime might have its last circuit of the year right now, there's still a wide future ahead of Smite 2 with plenty of ripe chances for your head to peep above the brushes. Sunprod, 1 or 2 years ago, unknown name in the Smite competitive scene. Now, it's on everyone's lips as one of the potential contenders to rise up and rip that throne away from Paul and the rest of their peerless peers. Paul, though, in this play, it just continues to show why they're so gosh darn good. Even when they're losing, they're still getting one kill.
Clocked In, they're just such a well-oiled machine. It's the fact that we saw Tegveer Jungle with Ho Yi win back-to-back weeks in Game 1. It was just the same script, It's the writers of Smite Prime. They've got to get some jungle juice in there or something and mix things up. But again, it's just because Clocked In is just so good. It's on the other teams to step up. But it's the small plays that make the big impact, and that's kind of the thing that Clocked In has seemingly mastered. And since we're going back through and doing the replays. Why not one more little peek at how disgusting of a game Hydrogen had here in game number 2. And again, I point out the dash to avoid the ultimate from Sunprod. It's easier to time in Smite 2 than maybe the olden days, but like this is still impressive. It's the prediction of the ult, not even the timing. It was the prediction of it that makes it so significant.
If I'm not mistaken, it was the Odin that was banned away in that second game. It felt like there was two characters. Actually, yeah, it was 2 games with characters that just make sense for the people playing them on Clocked In, right? You have the Kate from Paul, the Aladdin from Paul. You have Tegvir on the Achilles. Whereas,
Yep.
I struggle to think of like a pick where I'm like, that is Sunprod's character. Even though that Odin was what they got that amazing performance on, I don't think of like a character with Sunprod. I just think of plays. Whereas there are characters in that amazing ocean of gods that still make you shudder just when you see them selected on a certain team. That's what I think a lot of these teams lack in comparison to Clocked In.
I think of players in this beautiful game of Smite 2, and I think of what they're competing for. And we have one more week to see it all come to a head. It's been a crazy November circuit dominated by Clocked In, but there is always that chance of at the finish line being disappointed. We've seen that through the rest of Smite Prime. So next weekend is the last time to be able to tune in and see Smite Prime this year. So do not miss it. It's going to be a fun one. $7,000 on the line, 125,000 diamonds. Make sure to go to smiteprime.com to check out everything related to Smite Prime, hopefully to see more in the future as our year does come to an end. It's important to stay on there. But hey, before we do our full end of it, we had some giveaways going on today, and we have a couple of winners of those giveaways. Let's start first with the Smite Prime winner. Kamazotz was taken, a name I see in Twitch chats around Smite all the time. So congratulations to you. Kamazotz was taken for a well-deserved victory. You know, totally not rigged at all that it wasn't me. That's fine. It's totally cool. But of course, there was a Smite game winner as well. So for the Smite game winner, a big congratulations to Indigenous
Dingo.
Indigenous Dingo. Thank you. That's tough for a dyslexic to get through that name, and that's on you. That's totally not on me. Absolutely not on me. You won the Dark Lord Sun Wukong skin, one of my favorite skins in Smite 1 and in Smite 2. But there's also contests going on that you can enter right now. And we talked about SmitePrime.com. Let's talk about the art contest because, hey, the Yule Fest, it's going on. Submissions are open as of November 14th. They close December 12th. So get in there, get your submissions in now. You've seen a bunch of them throughout the day today. You even saw Hindu Man's voting for those submissions. That begins December 13th. That goes through December 17th. So once the submissions are in, head to smiteprime.com, check out all the submissions, get your votes in. 5,000 diamonds for first place. So super serious when I get in there. It's been great. But Dilo, that brings us to the end of our day. And for me personally, I'm not sure if you're on next weekend, but this is my last cast for the year on Smite games. So it's been a fun year. Started in Vegas, ends in Smite Prime, watching Paul and Hydrogen go crazy. I think it was a fun year. Your final thoughts on the day, Dilo, before we head out of here.
Man, someone stop them. Someone stop them.
Someone stop them. You know what? That's as pure and as accurate as you could get. Someone stop Clocked In. You'll have to tune in next week to see if they can do it. From myself and the whole Smite Prime team, that's it for week number 3. We'll see you this time next weekend, noon. Do not miss it for the conclusion of Smite Prime this year. Until then, be safe, and we'll see you next time.